What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Yes, we are all hands, which means we are doing makeup collection video. This is the very first one in the series. I did put a poll up on my channel asking what y'all were interested, what y'all wanted to see. Everybody wanted to see the eyeshadow palettes. I get it, that's my favorite part too, but then everybody wanted to see my full collection and other parts, so I decided to go ahead and film it all and put it up in different parts so you can watch what you're interested in. So up first is eyeshadow palettes. So we are going to go over all of the eyeshadow palettes in my collection. There are quite a few. As you can tell from my hands, we are going to swatch. We are going to check all of them out. I'm going to give you kind of mini or speed reviews over them, but keep in mind that I have purchased every single eyeshadow palette in my collection. None of these were sent to me, so I do love every eyeshadow palette that I have. Some I love more than others, some I'm not as impressed with as others, but I do truly love all of them. I do have a special place in my heart for them. Also, keep in mind, this is not a declutter. I will not be getting rid of anything, so don't ask for anything. Don't be disappointed if I'm not getting rid of anything because it is just a collection video. I will be reserving the actual decluttering for the end of the year when I can go through, sit down, and maybe clear some things out, and those will be given away to friends and things like that. So at no point will I ever be giving any of my makeup away to anybody, mailing it to anybody, selling it, anything like that. But I think we have all the disclaimers out of the way. This is the only one that will have an actual intro, so the rest of them I will just hop into the collection. So yeah, without further ado, let's hop into the eyeshadow palettes. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into this. We have quite a few palettes to talk about and we need to get into it. So we're going to go in alphabetical order, which means we are going to start with Ace Beauté right here. I have two palettes from the brand. They're the only two that I have ever tried. And let's start with the Paledopoly because this is the first one that I ever tried from the brand. And this is beautiful. I was so drawn to this color story, and for good reason. It's bright, it's colorful, it just looks so fun. It looks like summer in a palette, and I love it. But these neon shades, the pink, the purple, and the blue, they are beautiful. They're so stunning on the lid. They're pigmented. They look beautiful. I love that we have some neutral shades in here that we can pair with these other shades. These purples are gorgeous. This shade right here, this like grungy yellow green color, it speaks to my soul. I love more of the muted grungy tones. You will see more of those as we get into my collection. But this palette is beautiful. I love the shimmers in here as well. They're nothing crazy, like super shifty or anything like that, but they are beautiful on the lid, and sometimes we don't need a bunch of shiftiness going on, so I am okay with it. And then we have the Mystic Romance palette. Now this palette I actually got in a BoxyCharm. This was February's BoxyCharm, and this is a really pretty palette. I'm happy that I have it because it's not anything that I would have picked up on my own. I would have looked the other direction and been like, nope, I don't need that, let's move on. But it's beautiful. I have loved every single look that I have gotten with this palette. I do wish that we had more, I guess, contrast in the palette. We have a lot of deep shades, a lot of mid-tones. We have one really light shade, so it does kind of limit you. You kind of have to pull in some shades from another palette, which is fine because I have plenty. But if you're just looking for like a one and done palette, I don't know if this is necessarily it. The shimmers in here are beautiful. Again, they are not anything like crazy, shifty, anything like that. Although these two palettes or shades right here do have a really pretty flip to them. I have enjoyed the looks that I've made with this. It is beautiful. I will continue to love it. But again, this is more like a companion palette for me. Up next we have Adept Cosmetics. I do have 4 palettes here from Adept, so let's go ahead and start with the one that started it all for me. This is the Heather Austin palette, and I am a big Heather Austin fan. I have been watching her channel for a long time, and when she came out with this palette, I actually didn't get it right off the bat. I got it a little bit later, but I'm so glad that I did. This palette is gorgeous. I love her color choices in here. I love the fact that we have this green and this yellow matte, and then we also have a purple and a more neutrally kind of burnt orange leaning shade. I love that. There's so many looks that you can do with here, and to me those are neutrals, but these shimmers in here are absolutely stunning. Like, let me show you what Adept shimmers look like if you have never seen them before. Like, what is that? They are so beautiful. I love them. Their shimmers are definitely where it's at for the brand, but she did such a beautiful job on this palette. It's gorgeous. I love it. I will keep this forever and for always. This is the Seahorse palette from Adept. So this palette is an all shimmer palette. It came out last summer, and oh, she's beautiful. I went back and forth on this. I talked myself out of it, and then I talked myself in it, and then finally I just like closed my eyes and pulled the trigger, and I'm so glad that I did because this is stunning. These shimmers in here are absolutely beautiful. I love how we have nice sturdy packaging. I love the seahorses on the front, and these are like metal, so it's not a picture, they're actually on there. But this is gorgeous. These shimmers are stunning. I love this palette so much. This is the kind of palette that I like to pair with some of my more neutral palettes or my all matte palettes. I absolutely love it. I'm so glad I picked this up. I know it's on the pricier side, but I'm a sucker for bright, shimmery, sparkly things, and that's what this palette is. So gorgeous. I love it. I'm so happy that I have it. This is the Samaran Sunset palette. This came out towards the end of last year, and this one's gorgeous. This is a fall palette to me. Like, this just screams fall. It makes me think of fall. It's my favorite kind of tones. They are grungy, they are muted, and again, the shimmers in here are absolutely beautiful. I have really enjoyed playing with this. I know that this one is themed off of, I believe, Star Trek, like a drink in it or something like that. I'm not a huge Star Trek person. I've actually never seen it. I'm a Star Wars person, but all of that aside, I can appreciate a good theme, I can appreciate a beautiful color story, and I can appreciate an absolutely beautiful shimmer. I love this palette. And then last we have the Flying Fiddles palette. This is the most recent palette from the brand. They do have another one coming out very soon, but this palette's gorgeous. This is a neutral palette from the brand, and it's like a neutral with a twist. So this is like a color lover's neutral palette. I don't know if a neutral lover would find this to be very neutral, although we do have this brown here, and I mean, this is definitely more of a neutral shade, but we also have this beautiful like burgundy, and we have this blue here, and the shimmers in here again are absolutely gorgeous. I do have a dedicated video on my channel using this palette. I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. This one might be one of my absolute favorites from the brand. Alright, Alter Ego. I have 2 palettes from the brand. So if you're unfamiliar, Alter Ego is a brand that tends to, I guess, basically dupe color stories of high-end brands. I know it's not for everybody. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, not everybody wants to spend $65, $70 on a palette or even more, or they can't. And in my opinion, they should be able to enjoy that beautiful color story as well. So with that being said, the first one that I have is the Goddess palette, and this one is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Gold palette, I believe is which one it is. It's one of her great big huge like $130 palettes or whatever, and I never got that palette. I always wanted it. I had my eye on it, but it was just way out of my price range at the time, and when they came out with this one, I was like, yes, please, because I like the color story. It is a very neutral palette. I understand that. I know that, which is all the more reason I couldn't bring myself to spend the Natasha Denona money on it that it costs. But this is beautiful. I do really like it. Yes, we have some very similar tones in here, but the shimmers in here are so pretty. Like, I just really enjoy them. I like them. That's a little bit more Topper-esque, but they just have such a beautiful shimmer to them. And honestly, the Alter Ego formula is really nice. So you don't feel like you're using, I guess I could say, like cheap makeup or whatever, but this is beautiful. I do enjoy it. I'm happy to have it. And then I also have the Midsummer palette right here. So this one is duping the, what's it called? The ABH Nouveau palette, I believe is what it's called. And I never got that palette. I wanted to for the longest time, and I don't know why I never pulled the trigger, honestly. I couldn't tell you why, but then Alter Ego came out with this one, and so I decided to go ahead and pick it up and see if I like the color story, try out the formula, and it's a beautiful formula. Again, it is a really beautiful color story, beautiful formula. I really enjoy this. The shimmers in here are beautiful. They're nothing like crazy shifty or anything like that, but they are very beautiful on the eye. And for me, this is a very like springtime palette. I love the green. I love this pop of lavender that we have. Again, this is beautiful, and if you are looking to pick up some of these palettes and you just don't want to spend the money on them, check out Alter Ego. I'm telling you, they're beautiful, and you know, we all gotta do what we gotta do. Speaking of ABH, I have two palettes from the brand. I know that sounds really strange, but I have decluttered several of them from the brand just because they were extremely old and the formula just wasn't performing anymore, and they weren't anything like sentimental to me or anything like that, so I did declutter them. These are the two that I have left. So first we have the Soft Glam 2, and this is cute. I do really enjoy this. It's not my favorite formula in the world, but I have tried to get rid of this palette so many times, and I keep holding on to it because I think, oh, that's going to be a really good palette for travel. Do I travel? No, I don't. I don't go very anywhere, hardly ever. I mean, every once in a while I do, but when I travel, I don't really tend to wear makeup either, but you never know when the occasion is going to arise. So I do keep this palette. I hold on to it. I just can't find it in me to get rid of it. It's just a really good everyday neutral palette. The shimmers are nice. The mattes are really nice. Like I said, it's not my favorite formula, but it gets the job done. And then I have the Cosmos palette. So I picked up this palette last summer when it launched because I just thought it was so beautiful. I loved the shimmers in here. I was drawn to them. Like I said, anything shiny, shifty, and sparkly can talk me into anything. Like it could talk me into anything. But I was excited about this, and honestly, I really enjoy this palette. Again, compared to like indie brands, these aren't nearly as shifty and amazing as beautiful, but for a mainstream brand that is so easy to get your hands on and more accessible, this is beautiful. I love the shades in here. I like the shade selection. I do wish that we had maybe a lighter matte in here, but it is what it is. This one, if you don't go in too hard with it, it can go in very softly. And I can also bring in this little palette as well, but this is beautiful. I really enjoy it, and I'm happy to have it. Be Perfect. This is the only palette that I have from Be Perfect. I really want to pick up one of the Carnival palettes. I think they're absolutely gorgeous, but this palette launched last year, and at the time we didn't have any other like cool tone neutral palettes. I don't know if you can really see that. The light is doing tricks with that shininess, but we didn't have a lot of them, and well, they kind of skyrocketed after that. But I do really enjoy this. I like this palette. I like the formula in here. I like the shimmers that we have. I don't have a whole lot of blacks and silvers in my collection, and at the time that's what I was looking for. So I did pick this one up. I'm very happy to have it in my collection. I really enjoy it, and I definitely want to try some more from the brand. Okay, let's talk about Bella Beauty Bar. I have quite a few here from Bella Beauty Bar. I completely fell in love with this brand about a year and a half ago, and it's one of my favorites. I absolutely love it. It's one of the brands where anything that they announce or sneak peek, I'm like, yes, 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 I need it. But let's go ahead and start with the palette that started this off for me. So it is the Strange and Unusual palette from Bella Beauty Bar, and well, obviously Bella Beauty Bar, but I love this. I'm going to be honest, I picked this up based purely off of the fact that it is a Beetlejuice palette. Beetlejuice is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. I love it. I was obsessed with it as a kid. And it's actually one of the only Tim Burton movies that I love. But this color story is everything. It's beautiful. I love it. This, where are we? This neon green right here. Gorgeous, stunning. This bright red down here, I love it. The shimmers in this palette, like, y'all, I can't even begin to tell you. This palette started my love affair with Bella Beauty Bar. Like, look at that. Are you kidding me? That is so, like, I love it. I'm obsessed. I know that they have since, like, upgraded this to their new formula. This is the original formula, and I still think it's fantastic. While I know that their formulas have gotten better, I won't be repurchasing it, not for the formula, because this one works for me. I love it. It's beautiful. It makes me so, so happy. Up next, we have the Sun and the Sea palette. This one, I believe that they re-released, so it's like a remastered version of a palette that they had a while ago, and this is really, really pretty. I will be honest, I probably should have not picked this one up, but again, I'm a sucker for shiny things, and that is what I love about this palette, because these 4 brown shades up here are all so super similar, and they look a lot alike on the lid, as well as these, I just dug my nail on that, as well as these 2 shades down here. So, but it is what it is. But these shifty shades in here are so, so pretty, and that is why we are going to keep her around, because even though she has got some basic shades that look like the other kids, what is that? That's gorgeous. I love it. I'm obsessed. I absolutely love it. This is a beautiful palette. I just feel like they could have done better with this up here, but it is what it is. Okay, we have the 2 that came out at Halloween last year. So we have the basic witch palette, and we have the recently de-influenced palette. And oh, these are so pretty. So this is their newer formula, and I love this color story. I mean, look at those purples and those pinks. Again, the shimmers are beautiful. They are just as beautiful as all the shimmers in the other palettes, and I love, like, which one's my favorite shade? I think this one's my favorite shade in the palette. Like, it is so, so beautiful. It's got that purple to pink flip to it. Like, Bella Beauty Bar knows what they're doing when it comes to their shimmers. I love this palette. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love that it was like a different kind of color story for Halloween. It wasn't just your typical like black, orange, green. We have these bright pops in here. So, I mean, you can definitely use it year round. I use all my makeup year round anyway. I don't really pay attention to seasons and stuff, although I do have moments where I'm like feeling a little more fall or a little more spring, but this one is definitely a year-round palette. And then we have the recently de-influenced palette right here. Oh, this one is so pretty. This one is deeper. This one has a little bit more of like that Halloween feel. I love the theming of this. I think it's so cute. I know it was kind of hit or miss, but I think it's cute. This is gorgeous. Like, look at this shade right here, because this shade could have sold me the entire palette, and let's be honest, it did. But look at that, like gorgeous. I wish you could see the flips on these, because this one is like a teal to a purple, and this one is like a green to a gold flip. Like, they are absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love the colors in here. Again, these two are a little similar, and so are like these. They're kind of, once you get them on the lid, they're not a whole lot different, but I still love the palette. I'm sorry, not these two right here. I'm sorry, but it's gorgeous. I don't care. I love it. I will continue to love it. She is beautiful. I think I like the Basic Witch more than I like this one though. This is the Angles of Illumination palette. This one came out the very end of last year, and this was actually the first batch that was released, and they put this one on a discount because I believe it was these two shades right here. These two were more similar than what they wanted, so they knocked off like $5 and sold it as is. And I bought it. It's beautiful. I love it. It is full of their shifty, beautiful shimmer shades. Like, I'm trying not to swatch everything, but y'all, you have to see just how beautiful these shades are. This one right here is so stunning. I love like a coral to gold flip in a shade. It's beautiful. This palette, I'm happy to have it. I know that I have two shades in here that are similar. I don't care. It's beautiful, and I love her. She is amazing. She makes me happy, and that is all that matters. So if you're looking for a palette that's full of just shifty, beautiful, sparkly shades that are multi-chromes, duochromes, holochromes, all of the things, this one is gorgeous. This is the Best Mattes palette. So this is in collaboration with Ellie Starr and Brittany Huffman, and mine is not in the order that it came out in. I did reorganize mine, and this is gorgeous. I believe it was actually Brittany Huffman that organized hers that way, and I thought it was just so aesthetically pleasing. I did mine the same way, but this is gorgeous, and I got this thinking, oh, that's gonna have every single matte I ever need in it. I can pair that one up with all of my shimmer shades. I love to pair it up with this palette right here. I love this. This is gorgeous. All of these purples are just, they're stunning. They're chef's kiss. These neons are so pretty. They are gorgeous. I love this palette. If you are looking for a palette full of mattes and like every single matte you could possibly need under the sun, this one is gorgeous. The pans are removable. You can move them around. You can make your own palettes with them. I absolutely love it. I'm so happy to have this one. We're not done. I have the Pastel Garden palette. Now, I have the, I guess, second batch of these. Now, when this palette came out, first of all, let me show you her. I have not played with her yet, okay? I am waiting. The time has come. I'm ready to play with her. But when this palette was launched, I thought, oh, it's huge. I don't need it. That's a lot of pastels. I have a pastel palette. And I yearned for it. I yearned, and it kept going out of stock, and it would come back on pre-order, and finally I pulled the trigger and I got it, and she's beautiful. Like I said, I haven't used her yet, but I have no doubt that it's beautiful, and the time has come. I'm going to play with it. I wish I had gotten the original because I love the purple packaging that's on the original one, but it's still beautiful. Packaging's not going to stop me. I can't wait to use this one. And last, I have the two newest releases from the brand. So we have the Dead Roses palette right here, and the Ultraviolet palette in collaboration with Deandra Nicole. I do have dedicated videos up with these palettes, but let's go ahead and start with the Dead Roses palette. This is so pretty, but let me show you something, because my first thought was that is very similar to the recently de-influenced palette or the Basic Witch palette, and let's see if I can show you without messing all of this up. I don't know if I can. It's not as similar as you might think. It's really not. The tones are different. The pinks are different. The purples are different. The reds are different. So I will say if you have either of these, it might be a little too similar that you don't need it. But if you're like me and you're just obsessed and it makes you happy, then definitely pick it up. Who am I to stop you? Because I love Bella Beauty Bar. This palette is gorgeous. I love it. This shade right here, I was actually not going to pick this up. And then I saw, I can't remember who it was, swatch this shade. And oh, it's not even picking up on camera, which is so disappointing. Let me see if maybe with my phone flashlight I can't. Yeah, there we go. It has the most beautiful flip to it. It's just like dark purple, and I was like, I need that shade. I need it on my lid. I need it now. And it convinced me, as did that shade right there as well, because again, it's got just the most beautiful flip to it, and I love it. So they always get me with the shimmers, y'all. Always get me with the shimmers. But this palette, this palette got me with the fact that it is a purple monochromatic palette. Need I say more? If you have watched anything on my channel, you know that purple eyeshadow is my absolute favorite eyeshadow. I love to play with it. I'm sold immediately. If you've got a beautiful purple color story, I'm sold. It doesn't matter who it is. But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. I do have, like I said, a dedicated video up with this, but this is the ultimate purple palette. It's one of my favorites in my collection. I do have another one that you will see in just a little bit that I love as well, but this is beautiful. And again, it's that fantastic Bella Beauty Bar formula that I know and I love, and it does not disappoint. Here we have Blend Bunny. I don't have as much from this brand as I thought I did. I went through a phase where I was trying to talk myself out of things, and who am I kidding? I shouldn't have done it. But anyways, this is what I have from Blend Bunny. So let me start here with the blends. I love this palette. Again, this is a all matte palette. It looks very rainbow. It is very rainbow, but it has, again, every single matte shade that you could ever possibly need. And I do love the Blend Bunny formula. Now, this palette, in comparison with the Best Mattes palette from Bella Beauty Bar, this one has more of your neutral shades in it. So you have a white, you have your blacks, your grays, your browns, and you've got a little bit more of the muted shades. So put the two of them together and you've got everything you need. But this is a beautiful palette. I love it, and I believe this one is still available on the website. One that is no longer available, and I snagged this one right at the very end because I had my eye on it for the longest time and I knew I had to have it, but it is the Surge palette, and she's a stunner. Let me tell you, this palette, it's gorgeous. I absolutely love it. I love using these neons as like pops in my inner corner, or using them to like just add a little accent. They're gorgeous. The shimmers in here are not the best from Blend Bunny, but they do get the job done. They have vastly improved their shimmer formula, but they're still beautiful. I think it would be fun. I think it's Betty Jean that would love to see this one revamped, and I'm with her. I would love to see this one revamped as well, but I do love that we have the neons, we have the really deep tones, the mid-tone grungy shades, and then we have these more grungy pastels up here as well. She is beautiful. And then we have another one that you can't get your hands on anymore for all kinds of different reasons. If you're interested in the reasons, you can definitely go to the Blend Bunny Instagram, and she explains what went on with this, but it has to do with the word grunge. We're not going to get into it, but this palette is gorgeous. I love it. I am a child of the 90s. I had my better years in the 90s. I was 5 to 15 in the 90s, so this is like my childhood and I love it. I love the shade names in here. It just brings back so many memories and I love the color story of this. I love the tones. Y'all, this one kind of made a little stir when she switched around the shimmers instead of keeping them in line with their row like she normally does. This one turned a lot of heads, but it is beautiful. I love it, and if you didn't get your hands on it, I'm so sorry because it's beautiful. And if you did get your hands on it, then you already know. And lastly, we have the Lura palette. This palette is gorgeous. I think this was probably my favorite palette of last year. And yeah, need I say more? She's gorgeous. I absolutely love it. I love the pastels, midtones, deeps. These shimmers are gorgeous. This one right here is actually a multi-chrome, and like, it's so pretty. I wish my camera would pick up the stupid flips, and it just won't do it, but it is so shifty. It's so sparkly. The rest of these are just sparkly shades, but that one is a multi-chrome and it's beautiful. I love it. The formula is fantastic. The shimmers are beautiful. I love the color story. This one is a favorite. Okay, Colourpop. So I don't have an insane amount of Colourpop. I did get rid of a lot of Colourpop. There was a couple of eyeshadow palettes that I couldn't use. All of their shades don't agree with my eyes for some reason, but this is what I do have. So let's go ahead and start here with the Harry Potter, what is this called? Is it Return to Hogwarts or something like that? Back to Hogwarts. That's the name of this. This one I bought, not gonna lie, because it's Harry Potter themed and I love Harry Potter. And it is gorgeous. I have not played with every single shade in this palette yet, but I love it. It's a beautiful, like, neutral palette with a twist. And I really enjoy it. It's that fantastic Colourpop formula. I feel like they put a better formula in their collab palettes than they do with their normal palettes, but this one's beautiful. I love it. It is one of their bigger palettes, but it's not as big as like their mega palettes. Let's talk about Star Wars, because I did mention earlier that I am a huge Star Wars palette and I have all of their Star Wars palettes. And I absolutely love them. So let's go ahead and start with this one right here. This is the Star Wars palette and I love it. I have not used these two shades because I don't want to mess them up because they're so beautiful. I know that's stupid. It's makeup. It's meant to be used, but just let me bask in it for a little bit because I will eventually use them. But I do love this palette. I love the artwork in here. I love that we have the classic Star Wars scene. Empire Strikes Back is my absolute favorite one. Don't fight me on that. You will not win. It is the best movie in the entire saga. So I love this palette. It's gorgeous. I feel like it captures the movie perfectly. Now we have all of these right here. So let's go ahead and start with the C3PO. This one is one of my favorites. This is a pretty much yellow and brown palette and I love it. It is my favorite yellow and brown palette in my collection. I absolutely adore it. It's beautiful. I feel like this captures C3PO perfectly. It's that fantastic formula. The shimmers in here are gorgeous. They don't disappoint at all. And if you're looking for some good gold shades at an affordable price, this is a fantastic palette. All of these are still available on their website, so you can still get them. But I love this one. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, just the color story in general is beautiful. Next, we have the Darth Vader palette, and Darth Vader is my favorite. I know, but he's my favorite character, and I love this. I feel like this as well captures him perfectly. You have the red to capture his lightsaber. You've got the blacks and the grays to go along with his suit. It's beautiful. I love it. This one right here is actually a Super Shock Shadow. This is Stormtrooper, and it is so pretty. This one makes a really nice highlight or an inner corner shade. I love this. I also love that we have this really deep, dark, like burgundy shade as well. I am running out of room. I'm running out of room. I'm definitely have to clean my hands off, but it's beautiful. I love this palette. These two shades are very similar, but it's a Colourpop palette. I don't really complain too much because they're so affordable and the quality is up there. It's fantastic, so I don't complain too much, but I will say that these two shades are pretty similar. The Child palette. Oh my gosh, we all love little baby Yoda. He's so cute. We well, me and my boys, we watched this entire series when it came out. We've seen it all and we love it, but this palette is gorgeous. It is a green palette. We have a couple pops of neutrals in here, but it is a green palette, and again, this is one of my favorite green palettes in my collection. I absolutely love it. I love these sagey colors. We have another Super Shock shadow in here as well, and this shade is really pretty. It's fun, it's beautiful. It's very similar to one of the ones in the C3PO palette, but again, it is what it is. I don't really care because I'm sure I have an absolute ton of repeats in my collection anyway, so how are we going to complain? And then we have the Mandalorian palette. I haven't used this one. I probably will never use this one. It's not my favorite color story, but it's part of the Star Wars collection and I had to have it. But it looks beautiful. That shade, let's go ahead and swatch it. Yo, let's do it. Let's swatch it. Ooh, that's a really pretty shade. Well, it's really pretty. That's gorgeous. It's like that blue to purple flip. Oh, come on, Colourpop. Look at you coming through. What is wrong with me? I sleep on too many things. That's gorgeous. I need to use this palette, but nevertheless, I'm happy to have it. It's Star Wars. It completes the collection, and it will stay forever. Speaking of staying forever, who remembers this one right here? The Kathleen Lights Dream Street palette. Oh my gosh, this was my first ever Colourpop palette, and y'all, I was obsessed. She has been used and abused. She is dirty. I thought this was the most colorful palette in the entire world. Kathleen Lights is the reason I love Colourpop. She got me into Colourpop. I still love Kathleen Lights. She's so cute. I love her nail polishes. I enjoy her, but this is a palette I do not use. I don't ever use this palette anymore. It just sits in my collection, but I cannot bring myself to get rid of it because, like I said, this was my first Colourpop palette, and this was me stepping out of the box. This was me playing with color, and I look at it now and I'm like, it's pretty, but it's boring. But it brings back memories and I love it. This is a favorite from the brand. This is the Going Coconuts palette. If I can open it, oh my gosh, this is a staple. I feel like if you are looking for the perfect everyday neutral palette, this is your girl right here. I love this palette. When I'm looking for something that I don't want to put a lot of thought into my look, I don't want to put a lot of effort, I want the color story to just be there and just kind of do its thing, this is the palette that I go for. Now, mine still closes. I haven't had any warping issues. It is starting to rub off, but this is my second one though. I have hit pan on all of these in another one and I got rid of it. So this one is newer, but I do love her. She's beautiful, and y'all, the shimmers in this one are so pretty. Like, that's gorgeous. That is really pretty, and these are like, what, 14 bucks? You can't beat that. I love it. It's beautiful. I highly recommend that one. Then we have the Cloud 9 palette. So this is a newer palette. I did use this in, I think, actually my very first video here on YouTube. So you can go back and watch that. It's not that old. Don't get excited. I haven't been here that long. It's not like it's a 15-year-old palette, but here she is. This is a cool tone color story. It's pretty, it's nice, I like it. It's not my favorite. It's a little powdery, it's a little dusty, but at the same time, if you're balling on a budget and you just want a nice cool tone palette, this one is really pretty. I do enjoy it. It's just not a favorite. I have other ones that I like better, other Colourpop palettes that I like better, but yeah, this is a fun palette. And the last Colourpop palette that I have is this one right here. I actually just got this one. It is the Twilight palette. I did do a poll in my community section to see if y'all wanted me to do a review of the collection, and I got mostly no's. I get it, trust me. I was gonna pick this up anyways because I love Twilight. I like the books though. Let me make that very clear. I like the books. I have a really hard time with the acting in the movie. I know there's so many people that absolutely live and breathe Twilight, but I prefer the books. Anyways, I like the color story and I think it's beautiful. I really, really like the cool tones. I like the greens. I like the blues. I don't really care about the artwork in here, but it is what it is. And I decided I wasn't sleeping on it. I slept on the Haunted Mansion palette, never got it. I regret it. I'm so mad that they didn't bring it back. I really wanted it, so I decided I'm getting it whether y'all want to see it or not. I will use this in a get ready with me and I will do a reel with it, but I am not going to do a dedicated video with it. But here she is. She's beautiful and I love it. Up next is Cosmic Beauty. So this used to be known as Cosmic Brushes, and this is a fantastic brand. It is newer on the scene. It's been around, I guess, a couple of years now, and it is so affordable. It is a UK-based indie brand, but it's beautiful. So let's go ahead and start because I have all except for their very first palette. I missed that one. I never got to it, but let's start with Serenity. This was the palette that kind of put them on the map. Okay, we are stuck to the desk. Hold on. Okay, so this is the palette that really put them on the map. This palette practically broke the internet, I feel like. But this is the Serenity palette, and oh, this palette is gorgeous. If you love greens and blues and purples, this palette is stunning. We have this pop of orange right here. The shimmers in here, you guys, they are amazing. And these are like under $30 for their palettes. They sell out very, very quickly. I don't know if these are currently available, but if they are not, I'm sure they're on pre-order. But these are gorgeous. I love it. I love this palette. I did not get this one when it first came out. I ended up getting it later, and I'm so glad that I did because it's beautiful and it's a favorite of mine for sure. I love this brand. Then we have the Muse palette. This was the first one that I picked up from the brand because look at that color story. It's gorgeous. This one is my absolute favorite from the brand. I love this color story, this grungy garden that we have going on. The shimmers in here are absolutely beautiful. They are so shifty. They're so smooth. They're soft. They are just absolutely beautiful. Like, oh. And again, you cannot beat the price point on this. I'm super impressed with the quality. I love, love, love these palettes, and this one is my absolute favorite from the brand. Moving right along, we have the Delicious Delights palette. This one came out last summer, and it also came out with a highlighter palette. You will see all of that in the rest of my collection. But look at this color story. It is so pretty. It is so bright. It is so fun. It's got some neons. It's got some pastels. It's gorgeous. And y'all, this shade right here, like, let me tell you what, it is such a absolutely beautiful, like, oh, there you go. Look at that multi-chrome, that shift. Like, oh, so, so pretty. I love it. This is a fun color story. I really enjoy it. This is the most recent launch from the brand. So this is the Winter Wonderland palette that came out, I believe, December of last year. And look at that. That is That's a winter dream. It is an icy color story. It's so beautiful. We have all of these beautiful blues and purples and greens. It's just so, so pretty. And again, the shimmers in here are so pretty. Like that one right there, this shade Winter Solstice. It is such a beautiful, like, green to blue to gold flip. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I love the color story. I love blues. I love purples. This one's beautiful. I think they captured Winter Wonderland absolutely perfectly. This is the Gothic palette. This was a Halloween release from the brand last year, and it is a smaller color story. So the other ones are 20 pan palettes. This is a 12 pan palette, and this was sort of their Halloween release, and I don't think anybody expected what was on the inside, but y'all, you already know it had my name written all over it. They knew that they were making this palette for me, and it is gorgeous. The purples in here are so stunning. It is just a beautifully curated palette. I absolutely love it. Again, these shades, y'all, I don't know how they make shades so beautiful for such an affordable price point. They really, really do. But this is tied with the Ultraviolet palette for being my favorite purple palette, but it's gorgeous. I love it. I love that we have a smaller color story, because I feel like if they had done anything bigger or too much bigger, like a 20 pan palette would have been too much, but this is gorgeous. I love it. I cannot wait to see what this brand has coming in 2024. This is the only palette I have from Danessa Myricks. This is the Groundwork Defining Neutrals palette right here, and I love it. It has a fragrance to it, I will say that. I'm not really sure what the fragrance is. It does go away as you use it, but it does have a fragrance. But I love this palette. If it's a little on the pricier side, I know, but Danessa Myricks is a makeup artist, and she is so good at coming up with products that are for the makeup artist, but also for like your average consumer. And this is beautiful. This palette is meant to do it all. So it's meant to do your contouring, your bronzing, your brows, your liner. You can use it on your eyes. You can use it everywhere. These bigger pans are like putties, and these smaller ones are powders. I love this. This is a beautiful formula. This is a cream formula done right, and I love it. I'm so excited because she is coming out with the, what is it, the blooming something, but it's like pinks and purples, and it's exactly like this. It's just more of those shades, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that one and use it and use them together. I love this palette, and I am so happy that I picked it up. I have one palette from Veron, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, Cosmetics, and it is the Gloomy Gardens palette. This one just came out this year. I do have a video on this, and this palette is so pretty, y'all. The formula is stunning. I have to give it to her. Like, I didn't pick up the first palette that she came out with, and I don't know why. I just didn't, but I want it now because this is an absolutely fantastic formula. I loved working with it. The shimmers in here are so beautiful. They really are. The mattes blend like but the mattes blend like a dream. They build up on each other so nicely. I didn't have any issues working with it. I am so super impressed. Now, Veron Cosmetics is M. Jones over on Instagram. If you know who that is, you know who that is. If you know, you know, basically. This is her brand, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I'm excited to see what else she does. I want to pick up her other palette and try that one out. I love it. I'm glad that I got this one. This is my one little palette from e.l.f. I know, y'all. It's sad, but I do want more. I really enjoyed this. I just got this one for my dedicated elf video. I did a full face of elf makeup, if I can open it, and I tried out this palette, and it's not easy to open, but I will say, out of everything that I tried, this was the standout to me. This is so pretty. Now, it's nothing to write home about. The shimmers are very just, they're shimmers. That's what they are. They are shimmeries. There's nothing shifty. There's nothing extra sparkly, but they look beautiful on the eye. The mattes went on so well. They blended so beautifully. I was impressed. I did a look using all 4 shades. I absolutely loved it. And y'all, this is a $3 palette. A $3 palette. I'm impressed. I want more. They have an absolute ton of them. To me, this is the absolute perfect travel palette because it's small, it's compact, and it's cheap. If it breaks, it's not a big deal. You go buy a new one, but the quality is there. This is not just good for the price. This is a good little palette, and I want to try more shadows from e.l.f. Let's move on to Ensley Rain. So I only have 3 palettes from the collection. I slept on this brand for far too long, y'all. Like way too long. I kept watching it and I kept thinking, oh, it's pricey, it's this, it's that. Well, let me tell you what. Yes, it's pricey, but oh, is it worth it? To me, at least. I think it's worth it. But I also love makeup. I'm obsessed with it. And yeah, but let's go ahead and start with this one right here. This is the Lands of Enchantment palette, and it is gorgeous. It is a bigger palette, but it's beautiful. The artwork on here, y'all, like, oh, that is so beautiful. And I know that this is like a lot of AI artwork. I get it. I don't care. It's still beautiful. But let's look at the inside of this palette because oh, she's so pretty. This is a pastel palette. It really is. It's a pastel palette, but what I love about this palette is that we have these darker shades down in here. So you can do, oh my gosh, I have dog hair. I have dog hair all on my palette. But what I love about it is that you can definitely do some bright, light, airy pastel shade or looks, but then you can also deepen them up and do some deeper dark smoky looks. The versatility of this palette is there. The shimmers in here are absolutely beautiful. I really enjoy their formula, and I like that whenever they do their shimmers, we get different textures. Like, look at this one compared to those two. It's definitely more on the chunky side. This one is like topper-esque and super smooth, and this one is more shifty. I love that. I love when we get different formulas, different textures in a palette, and a brand doesn't just stick to one thing. Look, I re-swatched the same shade because it's gorgeous. But I do really like this brand. I love the formula. I wish I hadn't have slept on it as long as I did, but it is on my radar. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what else they do. I am loving this brand, and to me, it is worth every single penny. Next, we have the Cold Moon palette, and this palette I was so excited about because it is muted, it is grungy, but this is it's a neutral palette. That's exactly what this is. This is a neutral palette with pops of color in your shimmers. So I will say it's not my favorite. I had higher hopes for it. Not to say that it's not beautiful. It is, but there's just not a lot of versatility with this palette. I feel like I get a lot of the same looks with this palette no matter what I do, except when it comes to the shimmers. So when I start popping on the shimmers, that's when my looks start to change, which I'm okay with, but you know, it can kind of get a little repetitive, and this is just one of those where I will reach for it based off of the shimmers and the shimmers that I want to use. But if you're looking for a beautiful neutral palette from an indie brand that's going to have absolutely stunning shimmer shades in it, this is your girl. This is gorgeous. It really is. it's just not my favorite from the brand. It's not my favorite color story. But this color story right here, y'all, this one's newer. I'm still testing it out. I have created some looks with it. I did a 2-look video, I believe, and I really, really love this. This is all the 70s vibes. I love these orangey, grungy shades, the greens in here, the pinky tones. We have really light, really dark, and these in the center are so, so gorgeous. Like, look at that shade. Like, how beautiful is that? This one though, y'all, was anybody ready for that? I don't think so. Like, it is just absolutely gorgeous. Where's this one? This pink shade is chunkier, but it's so pretty. I love it. I'm here for it. This is my kind of color story. Again, with the grunge, the muted tones. I love it. I'm still testing it, but so far, I love this palette. Moving along to Fantasy Cosmetica. So this is another brand that I absolutely love. This is an indie brand, and I have every single palette from the brand. So let's go ahead and start with Druid. I believe this was the first palette from the brand, and this is stunning. I love this color story. Again, we have those very grungy vibes in here. This is more of a, I want to say more of a neutral palette. It definitely is. We have this grungy green right here. We have this pop of blue, and then we have these two very warm leaning, almost to your purpley side browns, and this is gorgeous. I love this palette. The shimmers in here are beautiful. I did not like discover this brand when it first launched. I discovered it later on and fell in love with it so much that I went back and bought the rest of the palettes. But look at those shimmers. They are so beautiful, so shifty. I will say their formula has improved dramatically, and they now all have the same sort of stained glass artwork on the front as well. But that is the Druid palette. So let's go on to the Sorcerer palette. This one right here, this is so beautiful. Like, look at that color story. Look at those bright pinks, the blue, the purple down here. Again, these shimmers are beautiful, and this brand is so fun because it is like 100% fantasy themed. I mean, it's in their name, but I'm always curious as to see like what character they're going to come out with next. But this is beautiful. I love this palette as well. It's poppy, it's colorful. It's so fun. Next we have the Bard palette. This is another one of my absolute favorites. I love the colors in here. I love a good orange eyeshadow. It's one of my favorites next to purples and next to greens. It's just so easy to wear. It's so complimentary. I really like it. This one is beautiful as well. Again, the shimmers are where it's at, even though they do have an absolutely beautiful matte formula as well. It's the shimmers that are the showstoppers for me with this brand. Like, look at that, how absolutely beautiful. They are so shifty, so shiny. I really enjoy this palette as well. This is the first one that I got from the brand. This was the Rogue palette, or is the Rogue palette. It does have their old artwork on the front, but this is what the color story looks like. This is what the color story looks like, and it is beautiful. Like I said, this was the first palette that I tried from the brand, and I absolutely loved it so much that I went and bought the first 3, and then I have bought every other palette since as they launch, and it's gorgeous. But look at these shimmers right here. Like, y'all, I cannot get over it. They are so stunning, so beautiful. This is about the time that the mattes got really good. Like, they upped their formula, they upped their game, they even upped their game with their shimmers as well. This black is so beautiful. It's pigmented. There's a lot of shade option, like, or I'm sorry, not shade options, but a lot of color combination options in here. Like, these are colors that you wouldn't automatically think to pair together, but whenever you look at them in a palette and you break it down, your mind is like, okay, I get it. Like, you could do these two together, these two, you could do these two. I love it. I'm obsessed. We've got light, we've got dark. This is, I think, probably my absolute favorite one from the brand. Next we have the Fighter palette, and then this is their version of a neutral palette, and it's neutral, but it's so pretty. Again, we just have these grungy deep tones. We've got our gray cool tones, we've got our brown and yellow warm tones over here, and the shimmers are again where it's at. Let me swatch some for you because that is gorgeous. I don't know if you can see that very well on my arm, but I'm running out of room, so this is what you get, but they are beautiful. I love them. This one is more of the, I guess, subdued side of the brand. Even though you still get these beautiful shifty shades, you can definitely make more nude, wearable, everyday looks. Even though I think all eyeshadows are wearable, I do understand that some people cannot wear like colors and shifts and all of that to work. I do recognize that. So it's nice when indie brands come out with something like this so you can still enjoy the formulas, the price tag, the shifty, beautiful formulas without having to compromise like where you can wear them. Then we have the Warlock palette. This one came out towards the end of last year, and this is so pretty. This green is stunning. It's absolutely gorgeous. It complements this palette so well. These shimmers are beautiful. Let me see if I can find somewhere to swatch these, because this one and this one, y'all, I don't know if you are ready for this. Look at how beautiful those shades are. I love it, love it, love it. This shade right here is so shifty and so absolutely beautiful. Again, their formula just gets better and better. I will say that the matte formula in this palette is probably not their best formula. So if this is the first and only palette that you've tried from the brand, it's probably not going to give you the best first impression. They do work, they just take a little bit more work, and I will say the color story is a little more chaotic in this one than the others, but it also goes with the whole Warlock theme of it, and it's beautiful. I still love it, and I'm happy to have it. And then we have the newest launch from the brand. I actually just did a dedicated video with this palette. This is the Wizard palette, and this is probably another one of my favorites from the brand. I absolutely love this. The looks that I made using this were absolutely gorgeous. I love the purple, the blue, the yellows in here are stunning. I love it. I'm not going to go on and on too much about this one because I am still testing it out, but I do absolutely love it. I love that we have a blue color story, and I'm waiting to see what character and what color story they come up with next. I have one palette from Give Me Glow. This is the Pastel Dreams palette. I bought this palette back when it launched, and there weren't a whole lot of pastel palettes on the scene at the moment. Now we have a ton of them, but this one is beautiful. I will absolutely give it that. There's not a whole lot of variety, so you are definitely going to get nothing but pastel looks out of this palette, but you do get one of each shade. The pan sizes are enormous. They're absolutely huge, and the shimmers in here are beautiful. I do really enjoy this palette. It's beautiful. Like I said, I have since now obtained more pastel palettes, and of course I have another one on the way to me, but this is absolutely beautiful. Like, look at those shimmers. That blue is so shifty. Like, it's like blue to gold. Absolutely beautiful. I do enjoy this palette. I do really love it. I would like to try more from Give Me Glow. I just haven't yet. I also only have one from Illuminatrix. I do have their newest launch on the way to me. It should be here soon, but this is the Sugar and Spice palette right here, and this is so pretty. I know that this is very neutral. I understand that. This row right here is very, very neutral, but we do have these couple pops of colors, and again, the shimmers in here are beautiful. I really just wanted to try the formula when I bought this one, and this seemed like a safe palette. I really do enjoy it. I like the color story. I like that it's a little bit more wearable. I am excited to try the new Pastel palette, but again, their shimmers are gorgeous. They are absolutely beautiful. I wish I had tried this brand sooner, but they are a Australian indie brand, and one, the shipping is a little pricey, and two, they take a really long time to get here because they have to be shipped from overseas. But this is a beautiful palette. I love the packaging. I love how sturdy it is. I love that we have a smaller pan size, y'all. That makes me so happy because I don't hit pan in a lot of palettes, so it's nice when I have something that's not so intimidating and I feel a little bit better about it. But this is beautiful. I love it. I'm excited to try more. Let's move on to Glamlight. I do have a larger collection of this as well. I don't have everything. I have pretty much all IP collabs. I didn't really get into this brand until the end of 2022, I believe it was, whenever the Scooby-Doo palettes came out. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start there with the Scooby-Doo palettes, shall we? So I have both of them from the Scooby-Doo collection. I have the Retro Raggy palette and the Creeps and Crawls palette. So the Retro Raggy palette is this one right here, and it is a very green and blue palette. It is so pretty. I will say these are very dark tones, so I have to either go in with a very light hand or bring in another palette, but again, I obviously have enough that doesn't really bother me. But the shimmers in here are beautiful. I really do enjoy this formula. I think it's a fantastic formula. I'm very impressed with it. It put a good impression on me. That I also got this one as well. I actually got these, I think, as a bundle, I'm pretty sure, and this palette is gorgeous. Obviously it's got the purples in it, but I love that we also have these pops of green and blue in here as well. I think it's absolutely beautiful. These shimmers are stunning. I do really enjoy the formula. Let me go ahead and swatch a couple of these colors. I'm trying not to swatch everything so we're not here forever, but I just want to show you like the stunners from the palettes because these are beautiful. Glamlight does have a really good formula. They are really affordable. These palettes are not much at all. I know they're still available on their website. They come out with a lot and it can be very overwhelming. Like Halloween last year just about did me in. I couldn't keep up. I picked up what I wanted, but yeah, I really enjoy these. So let's move on to the next one from Glamlight. This is the Chucky Crazy in Love palette. It has that lenticular front on it. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up, maybe a little bit, but this was their anti-Valentine's Day palette from last year, and this is dark, this is grungy, this is smoky, this is very pretty. It's not for every day. I can use this by itself, but I do like to pull in other palettes as well. But we do have these really deep burgundies, these reds, lots of blacks, grays. This silver right here is so pretty. Like, that is such a pretty silver. And then this shade right here is also really pretty as well. I do enjoy this palette. I like it. Is it my favorite? No. But do I regret buying it? Also no. So yeah, here she is. Okay, so I did not pick up everything from the Halloween release last year because it was a lot. They came at us left and right while other brands were coming at us as well. So I picked up what I wanted. I picked up what I liked. So first I picked up the Ghostface palette. So I picked up this palette because I love the Scream movies. I remember watching the first one when it first came out. I think I was in high school, and I have seen every single one of them in the theater. I absolutely love them, and this is what the color story looks like. This is a cool toned neutral palette, and yeah, it's beautiful. It's very simple, but again, the shimmers in here, y'all, that is what gets you with their palettes, is the shimmers, because it's like, okay, it's a neutral palette, right? But bam, like those are gorgeous. I have so much like residue on my hand, you can't even really see what you're looking at this point. I'm sorry, I apologize, but it is what it is. I mean, you can tell from that how shifty and beautiful like that pop of like green is. It's really pretty. I like this palette. Is it a favorite? No. And honestly, I got it because it's ghost-faced. Let's be honest. We're not fooling anybody here. And then I picked up the two Nightmare on Elm Street palettes. I didn't pick up the cheek palette because I couldn't at the time. But I picked up these two because I absolutely love A Nightmare on Elm Street. It was one of the first like horror movie franchises that I ever watched as a kid. Yes, it scared the crap out of me, but I have grown to love it over the years. So this is the Dream Master palette right here. This is all of your reds. This is beautiful. This is like my go-to red palette. I love it. It's beautiful. The shades in here are beautiful. They're shiny. The mattes are great. I like it when they do this layout right here. And then I also picked up the, what is this? This is just the Nightmare on Elm Street, oh, the Freddy Krueger palette right here. And this is your grungy green palette. Absolutely beautiful. I think both of these palettes encapture the film perfectly. All of them, actually. There's so many of them, but you have the reds, you have the greens, so you have his sweater in two separate palettes, and I love the names on these as well. I love the colors. This shade right here is so pretty. Of course, here we go with swatching again, but it is very like topper-esque, but look at how beautiful and shiny and shifty that is. Absolutely beautiful. I know that they are doing some more horror movie IP collabs, I guess, this year. I'm hoping one of them is Halloween because that is another one of my favorites. I did not pick up the Friday the 13th palette because I find Friday the 13th lame, personally. Go ahead, say what you want. I think the movies are stupid. I have seen all of them and they just get worse and worse. Then we have the most recent release. This is the Betty Boop a Dupe palette right here. And this is so pretty. We have our reds, we have our purples, we have some blacks in here, some pinks. The shimmers are absolutely gorgeous. I do have a dedicated video to this collection up on my channel if you want to check that out, if you want to see swatches. But this palette is beautiful. I think this is probably one of my absolute favorites to date, and I'm excited. But they have a Kiss collection coming out very soon, and y'all, I'm excited for that one. I absolutely love 80s music, and I cannot wait to see the full reveal of that one. As of now, I currently have two Gourmand Girls palettes in my collection. I do have the one from Steph's Beauty Stash, that collab, on my way to me. I'm excited about it, but these are the two that I have right now. So I have the Warriors Wear Pink palette. This palette is beautiful. It is really pretty. Honestly, I picked it up because I wanted to support Sarah Soto because she is going through breast cancer, so I wanted to support her. I do have family and loved ones that have gone through cancer, that we have lost to cancer, and I just like to support anywhere that I can. But I love this palette. I fell in love with it. I like the color story, I like the shimmers, I like the formula, and this one kind of did it in for me. Now, I didn't pick up the Halloween releases because that was at the time when I was trying to talk myself out of palettes, and yeah, it is what it is. But these shimmers are so pretty. Like, they are absolutely gorgeous. I really enjoy this palette. Like, it is a pink and red palette, yes, but I love that we have these pops of purples right here, this beautiful teal shade here, and then we have some lighter shades and some deepening up shades as well. So it's not just a monochromatic pink shade, and I absolutely love that. I think that's the way to do it if you're going to do it. And then I picked up the Silent Night palette. So this one was in collaboration with Doodles by the Bunny. I love Doodles by the Bunny. She does such amazing work and her artwork is beautiful. But this one came out as Christmas and I was drawn to it. The golds and the blues in here just really called my name. Now, at first glance, you think that this is a blue palette, but it's really not. There's only like these two matte blues and these two blue shimmers here, and then it's pretty much a neutral palette. I will say there is quite a bit of color overlap in this palette, so I feel like there could have been more variety, but it is what it is. I'm not mad about it. It is a beautiful palette. I love blue and brown together. I love blue and yellow together. This palette makes me happy, and I also love a good Christmas themed palette as well. Alright, I have one palette from Guerlain. This was their holiday launch, and this palette is so pretty. I picked it up because, one, I really enjoy the brand. I wanted to try the formula, and I liked that we had color from a luxury brand. I feel like we don't see that a lot. I feel like it's a lot of neutrals, pinks, topper shades, things like that. So I picked this one up, and this is a beautiful formula. I really enjoy it. I think that for a luxury brand, this has got a lot of punch to it. I'm impressed. The shades in here all go together. They blend nicely. This is the only matte in the palette, but I don't mind an all shimmer look either. But this is beautiful. I love it. I'm intrigued. I want to try more from the brand. I just haven't yet because she's a little pricey. This is the Rich Girl palette. The Rich Girl palette from Give Cosmetics. This is Gwen Stefani's brand right here, and I bought this because I wanted to try the formula. I was curious to see if she was going to have more like a mainstream formula or more of like a luxury formula. I wanted to see how they were going to perform, so this is the palette that I picked out. This is a beautiful quad. I really enjoy it. I like the formula. This palette makes beautiful looks. That's all I can say. Like, it is really nice. It's not like blow your socks off. Obviously the shimmers they're nothing like crazy. They're not shifty, but that is so beautiful. It is very metallic, very shiny, very smooth. They look beautiful on the lid. You can definitely make a full cohesive look with this. I do like it. I like the formula. I think it's a great formula. So if you're curious about the brand, don't sleep on it. I love it. I'm here for it. I would like to get more. Haus Labs. Let's talk about the very controversial Haus Labs palettes. Sorry, they are super reflective, but I picked these up when they were on deep discount. I think they were just about half price because I was curious, but I had heard so many awful things about them. I didn't want to pay full price because I think these were like $49 a piece or something like that. They were not cheap. But let's go ahead and start with volume 1, the Super Neutrals, which is, if I can open it, this one right here. And then we also have volume 2 called the Super Neutrals as well. So nothing groundbreaking, but this is the two palettes right here. And I have to be honest, I like these. And I don't know if it's because my expectation was a luxury formula and that's what this is giving, or if they just worked well for my lids. I don't know, but I like these. I think the mattes blend well. They're not super pigmented, but they are buildable. And the shimmers, although they're not anything like crazy, they are really, really pretty. Like this shade here, this is really nice. Like both of these shades are beautiful. Like look at how metallic and shifty that is. And the same thing with that one, like that's super shiny and beautiful. And then if we pop over to this palette, I mean, come on now, that's like right up there with a lot of other high-end brands. Like, is it indie brand? No, but I also think that they are better than luxury brands. I mean, I really enjoy them. I like the I like the palettes. I think they're beautiful. I don't know if I would spend is it $49? I don't remember, but I don't know if I would spend the price tag that these carry on them, but I do like the formula. I think she could maybe drop the price down. Gosh. I think maybe she could drop the price tag down just a little bit, and I think that they would be more appealing to people. But I do want to see her come out with more palettes. I'm excited. I hope that this is the beginning of an eyeshadow line for her. Y'all, I thought I had more palettes from Huda Beauty, but I have a feeling I gave them away. I did do like a declutter, I think mid last year, and I gave a bunch of palettes to some friends, so there's no telling. I thought I had some of her bigger ones, but I guess I don't. But it makes sense because I'm not a huge fan of the color stories anyway. But I do have the Khaki Haze palette right here, if I can open her. And this is what she looks like. I really enjoy this. I do like it. It's not my favorite formula by any means. It is a nice formula, and the shimmers in here are beautiful. The mattes are nice. They're buildable, they're blendable, they're creamy, they're all the things. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but it is a pretty palette. I do enjoy it. I like the looks that I'd make with it. I was expecting more greens out of this, given that it is Khaki Haze and we have the green packaging, so that was a little disappointing that we have like a green matte and like a green shifty shimmer, but nevertheless it is a beautiful neutral leading palette. I'm excited to see what she does with this rebrand that she has coming out. Like, I want to try new eyeshadows from her brand to see if she improves the formula. I didn't pick up the creamy ones because I've tried her creamy formula before and I didn't like it, so I figured it would probably be a waste of money to get a 9-pan that is full of creams. But I'm excited to see where the brand is going. I want to keep this one out of reference at this point so I can compare formulas, but other than that, I would probably at some point declutter this one anyway, but I will keep it for that reason. And this is not a declutter, this is a collection video. Jolie Beauty, y'all, this palette, I bought this palette out of a moment of weakness. One, the packaging is absolutely gorgeous, and two, this color story, it just looks so pretty. I know it has all of these pressed glitters in it. I do not like the pressed glitters by any means, but I do really enjoy the mattes in this palette. They are beautiful. The mattes are so blendable. They are so buildable. They're creamy. I don't have any patchiness. I don't have any pulling. There are more shimmers in here than there are pressed glitters. We only have 4 pressed glitters. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. The rest of them are shimmers, satins, things like that. There is a lot of color overlap on this side of the palette. Like, all of these shades over here are very similar on the lid, but the purples are beautiful, the blues are beautiful. I love the theming. I love just looking at this. It's absolutely beautiful, and this is a really nice palette. It's a nice brand. I haven't tried anything else from it, but I think I would really like to. I only have one Juvia's Place palette. I know. Who am I? That's weird. I think I had more and I got rid of them, but I do have the Nubian 3 Coral palette. This is so pretty. So it is a neutral palette, but it's got these corals in here, so like these more orangey colors, and I love a coral and gray color story. I don't have a lot of those like in one palette, and I really enjoy the Juvia's Place formula. I think this was the first one that I picked up from the brand because I really wanted to try it, and then I got some others, and then I think I got rid of those because I go through these stages where I declutter and I just want things gone, and then later on I regret it, and I need to stop doing that. But it is what it is. Here we are. I like this palette. Yeah, it's a great brand. It's an affordable brand. It's an indie brand. It's accessible. I like it. The shades in here are beautiful. The shimmers they're shimmers. They're not anything, again, shifty or metallic, but they look beautiful on the lid. They do have a beautiful reflection, and I like the palette. These are the only two palettes that I have from Kaleidos. These are the only two that I have ever bought from Kaleidos. I had planned on getting more, but they just haven't come out with anything that I've been excited about, and like the Flower Punk palette has been sold out, so this is what I have. But I have the Cold Brew Quad right here. I love this. It's beautiful. This is like my go-to quick, easy, like elegant brown eyeshadow look. This shade right here is so pretty on the lid. Like, it just catches the light and it's gorgeous. These colors play together very well. This is like a no-brainer color story. I love it. It's perfect. It's simple. I love the formula. I just want something punchier from the brand, stuff that they used to come out with. And then I have the Futurism 3 Astro Pink palette right here. These are no longer available. They discontinued them, and I don't understand why, because this is gorgeous. I absolutely love this palette, and I have thought several times of decluttering it, but I just can't bring myself to do it because of this shade right here, this shade right here, and that purple shade right there. So I keep it. It's beautiful. I love it. And look at those shades. Like, how can you get rid of that? You absolutely can't. So I'm sad that they got rid of these because I had planned on going and getting more of them, and next thing I knew, they were gone. But I'm just waiting for Kaleidos to come out with something else that piques my interest, because I do like the brand, I do like the formulas, and I just want to see more. Oh, good old KKW Beauty right here. Yeah, I miss KKW. I actually really enjoyed the brand, and this is the only palette I have left from the brand. This is the Camo palette, and gee, I wonder why it's the palette that I have left. It is greens. It's a neutral palette with a couple pops of greens in it, but it's beautiful. The formula is beautiful. It still works beautifully. I love it. Like, look at these shades right here. They are so pretty. Like, y'all. What? You've got to be kidding me. I don't really care what anybody says. I am not a Kardashians person, but I like good makeup. I like good formulas. I like pretty makeup, and that's what this is. I won't be getting rid of it. I am excited. I do have her new palette from her rebrand. It is coming up, and I want to do a side-by-side comparison with the formula. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. They are different formulas. They're both good. I want to compare. Clarity Cosmetics. This is the only palette I have from the brand. I did pick this up during one of their scavenger hunts because I thought it was beautiful. I always check them out, and I thought this color story was absolutely beautiful. I like the shimmers in here, but I have to say, I was not impressed with this formula, and I don't know if it's because it's an older palette and they're trying, like, they were getting rid of it because it was old. Like, yes, these shimmers look beautiful, but I wasn't impressed with the mattes. So I'm waiting for them to come out with a color story that draws me in. I know we've had several sneak peeks of some new things that they're coming out with, and I want to give them another shot. I don't want to base them off of a palette that they were discontinuing and what seems like they were giving away, because if you don't know, they like to do scavenger hunts with their older products. So they give you hints, you go in, you find it, you can add it to your cart for free. All you do is pay for shipping. They limit the quantities so you can't get a whole lot, but that's how I ended up with this one. So I have a feeling it's not like the best impression of their formula, but I am willing to give it another shot. And I do think it's beautiful. Veron Cosmetics. This is a new brand. It just came out, I guess, about maybe a month ago at this point. I do have a dedicated video up on my channel. This palette is gorgeous. Like, I am blown away by this palette. These shimmers in here are absolutely beautiful. The mattes in here are beautiful as well. This is definitely more on the neutral side. I understand that it's a new launch. I think some brands don't want to go too crazy with a new launch, but I do like it. I like that you can break it down into quads right here and do a look there, but then all of these shades work together. You have very light, you have very dark. The shimmers in here are stunning. They are so, so pretty, you guys. Like, I was highly impressed with this brand. Like, what? That is one swipe. What in the world is that? Like, oh, so pretty, y'all. I'm telling you, shiny, shifty, beautiful things. I love it. I want to see what else this brand does, what else they come up with. I enjoy it. I'm excited about it. I'm still testing it out and getting my final thoughts, but so far I really love it and I'm excited to have it in my collection. Ladybug Glow. This is an indie brand. They are on Etsy and I really enjoy this. I discovered this brand last year. I tried it out on a recommendation from Steph's Beauty Stash and I love it. I love the formulation. I do have a newer palette on the way to me from the brand. It is a St. Patrick's Day themed palette, so I'm excited. But let's go ahead and start with this one. This was the first one I picked up. This is the Floresta palette, and first of all, look at that artwork. Look at that cute little koala. It's absolutely adorable. I'm a sucker for cute packaging. I'm a sucker for cute animals, but the color story in here is beautiful. Like, this is a spring color story. I love it. The quality in here is beautiful. The mattes are absolutely beautiful. The shimmers are fantastic as well. Like, y'all, I'm going to be covered in shimmer when all this is said and done. But let me just show you, like, how beautiful is that? This one's a little on the flakier side. But, y'all, like, how can you say no to that? How can you not say that's beautiful? This shade right here, I know that's a very common like multi-chrome shade, but it's still beautiful. And this yellow shade right here, I don't think I have anything else like that in my collection. Like, it is so, so bright, so beautiful. It's a little on the softer and chunkier side, but it's still so smooth and it looks beautiful on my lid. I love it, and this started my love affair with the brand. I have yellow all over my hand. It stains. Up next we have the Castle of Horror palette. This one came out at Halloween. This is in collaboration with Blair Dale MUA over on Instagram, and they create lots and lots of beautiful looks. So they collaborated together and came up with this beautiful color story. I did feature this in my favorite purple palettes because I do absolutely love it. It's beautiful. There are lots of swatches on there. I did do a look with it. This is a beautiful palette. I love it. I don't regret it. I'm excited about it, and it's purples. Then we have these two that came out at Christmas. We have Krampus Eve and Krampus Continued. So Krampus Eve is a all matte with one shimmer palette right here. And then Krampus Continued is pretty much the opposite. It is all shimmers with 4 mattes in it. These palettes are beautiful together. They are companion palettes. They work well together. This shade right here, the original one in the palette was not up to par, so she sent out another one when I ordered this palette. So if it looks kind of funky right here, I had to pop out the other one and then put in this one. But this is beautiful. I do really enjoy these. I don't know how well this is going to swatch on my yellow hand. I mean, you can still see it, but the color's distorted. Like, oh, look at that. What? So pretty. But beautiful. I love it. I love the color stories. I love that we have a twist on a Christmas palette. Like, we have the story of Krampus, and I think that's so fun. But I love that these palettes work well together. I love that we have shimmer heavy. I love that we have matte heavy. They're beautiful, and I love them. And I'm excited to try my new palette that I have coming. I have the Lancome Louvre, I believe is how you pronounce it, palette right here. This came out around the holidays last year, and this is beautiful. I was influenced to buy this by Leah Janae here on YouTube. She talked about how beautiful it was. Just the shimmers in here were beautiful, and not to mention the artwork is absolutely stunning. Like, I don't even want to use it because it's so beautiful, but the shimmers in here are beautiful. This is a beautiful palette. There are no mattes, but these are gorgeous. I have really, really enjoyed playing with this. I hate swatching it. I hate using it because it's so pretty, but look how pretty those are. Those are like one and done shades, and that's what I appreciate about it. Let me grab this green right here. And that's what I like, is that these are one and done shades, so I can just throw one on my eye and hop out the door, and I love it. But you can also build these together and create a look as well. She was expensive, but I have zero regrets. Who remembers the Nudie Patootie palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles? Y'all, when this palette came out, I jumped all over it. I wanted this palette so bad. This was like a big purchase for me because it was a lot of money for me at the time when this came out. Yeah, we're not going to start getting into all that, but it's beautiful. It is a nude palette. It's exactly what it says it is, but it's a beautiful nude palette. I will give it that. I also don't use this one very much anymore either. It is older in my collection, but this just brings back a lot of memories. Like, I lived and breathed for a Laura Lee video. I absolutely loved it. I loved watching her looks. I loved watching her create all of these beautiful nude looks, and I was so excited to pick this up. But let's see how these shimmers perform. I don't think this palette is available anymore. Yeah, it's drying out a little bit. Like I said, I don't use it, but I also refuse to get rid of it because it just brings back memories. That's pretty much all it is. I loved this palette. You can tell I loved her. She's been used, she's been abused, and it's beautiful. You can't get it anymore. If you could, I would probably buy a new one, but yeah, I loved it. This was my go-to nude palette for such a long time. Lethal Cosmetics. This is the only palette I have from Lethal Cosmetics. Again, they are a brand. They do a lot of single shadows. They do a lot of create your own palettes. And again, I get overwhelmed. I get very, very overwhelmed. But this one was released last year, and this is, I believe, the Wildflower palette, and look at that color story. Like, oh my gosh, y'all, like, it is beautiful. This hot pink right here is so, so pretty. These purples are gorgeous. These shades complement each other so beautifully. When I ordered this palette, all of the shimmers in here came broken, so I had to reach out to the brand, and they sent me all new ones. They were very sweet about it, and they came just fine. But let me swatch these for you because Lethal has a beautiful shimmer formula. Like I want to try more from the brand, but I'm a palette girly, so I know they came out with a new one. I can't remember what it's called, but I've thought about picking that one up eventually. Maybe I will just for myself. I don't know, but this is beautiful. I really do enjoy it. I like the brand, and I'm excited to see what the new collab is that they have coming up. So I put this in with Lunar Beauty because Lunar Beauty comes first and that's where I keep it. But this is the full fantasy palette. This is the Lunar Beauty Lorelei Los Angeles collaboration palette that came out last year. This is the only palette I have from Lunar Beauty, and I had thought about picking up the, what's it called? The new one that everybody talks about, that everybody rants and raves about, but this palette came out and I don't feel the need for it. I feel like I have those shades plus some others. I feel like I have beautiful pops of colors. This one also reminds me of the, what is it? The Glaminatrix Nearly Neutral, Nearly Natural, whichever that one is. So this kind of filled that void, but this is a beautiful palette. I really enjoy it. This is a very nude palette, it's a nude palette with a twist, but it's beautiful. I love the names in here. I love the crossover. I love that we get a little bit of Laura, we get a little bit of Manny, and it's beautiful. I just enjoy it. I'm happy that I have it. I almost didn't pick it up, and then something said to pick it up, and I did, and I'm happy I did. I like it. This is a go-to palette for me as well. I get a lot of use out of it whenever I just want a quick, easy look. But look at those shimmers. Again, we have another one of those like purple to brown flippy multi-chromes in here, but we have a multi-chrome in this palette, so that's exciting. I really enjoy it. We've got light, we've got dark, we've got pops of colors. It's a beautiful palette. Makeup by Mario. So I have two palettes right here. This is the brand new one that just launched. I did actually go back and order the original Master Mattes palette as well because I was curious and I wanted to know if they were the same formula. But let's start out with the Ethereal Eyes palette right here. I got this one on the first launch and I got it during a Sephora sale, and this palette is stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. I love this palette. I understand the hype. I understand all of that behind it. I understand why it sold out. I understand why he brought it back. I get it. The hype is real. Do I think it is worth the $70 price tag I believe it has? No. But it's still beautiful. I enjoy it. I love it. If you were thinking about it, yes, but I will say there is another nude palette that is very similar to this one. It's about the same price tag. You get more shades, and I would recommend that one more. We will get to that one in a little bit, but I'm happy to have it. I love it. The shimmers in here are stunning. Of course, we have to swatch. Who are we if we don't swatch some of these? Like, these are they're very topper-esque, so they don't look like much on the back of the hand, but on the eye they look beautiful, and when the light hits them, it's absolutely stunning. Sorry, I'm running out of room over here, but they're beautiful. The matte formula is beautiful. I really enjoy it. I've gotten quite a bit of use out of it, and I will continue to get use out of it. Now this is the Master Mattes The Neutrals palette. Let's open her up. I haven't even done anything with this palette yet. Will it open? I don't want to rip the box. Hold on, let me grab a pair of tweezers. There we go. Okay. So I haven't even swatched it. I haven't opened it. I haven't looked at it. I haven't done anything, y'all. So here we are, our first little sneak peek. And this is what the palette looks like. Oh, that's really pretty. I like it. The pan size, I feel like, is, I don't know if it's smaller or if it's just a different shape. but it's definitely, this is weighty. This is like metal. This is weighty. This is more plastic. It's still weighty, but it's not nearly as heavy as this one. But it's beautiful. I do see some shade overlap. Ooh, y'all, we've got some comparisons to do. I'm waiting on the other one to get here before I play with this one, but we may have to compare all three. I am excited about this one. I'm excited to try the formula because the Ethereal Eyes is the only thing that I have ever tried from the eyeshadow side of Makeup by Mario. Martine Cosmetics. This is a brand that was on my radar for such a long time. This is a, I believe, French brand. I hope that is right. I believe that's right. And yeah, so you better know what you're looking for when you go on the website because the website is not in English. So if you speak English and that is your only language, just be prepared. But this was the Halloween release. This was the, oh, what's it called? Oh, I wish I could remember what this is called. Y'all, it's really going to bother me. But it's basically, it's a shark themed palette. So this is like the side of the shark. This is the gills right here with the little line through it. And I cannot, like, y'all, the whole back of it is not in English, so I can't even read it to tell. Oh, look, made in Italy. But oh my gosh, you guys, I can't even remember what this is called. But anyways, this was their Halloween release from last year, and it's a blue palette, and y'all, it's so pretty. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. I love that we have like this pop of red for the blood, but it's beautiful. I wish I could remember the name of it. Let me see if I can look it up because it's really going to bother me. So let me look it up while we talk about it. But yeah, so this was their Halloween release last year, and this brand had been on my radar for such a long time, and I was just waiting on like that perfect color story. And when this one came out, I said, yes, that is the one that I want. And oh, it's the Mayday palette. Look, it's written right here, y'all. Y'all, pay no attention to me. But it's the Mayday palette. That's the name of it. This is a beautiful formula. I do really enjoy it. I would like to try more from the brand. I did get the highlighter palette that goes with this. I did get a couple of the eyeliners as well, and I love it. I really enjoy this palette. This is a beautiful blue palette. It was not priced very bad. The shipping wasn't bad. I ordered it from the website. I did not order it from Beauty Bay. I think it is available at Beauty Bay now, but it didn't take very long to get here. I will say that. Coming from overseas, it didn't, but look at how beautiful that shade is, y'all. Like, what? You have to see this red because the pigmentation on this red, like, is beautiful. Like, that is a blood red. It's gorgeous. I love it. I'm happy to have this palette, and I don't know why I have this, but we're gonna put it back anyway. And I've probably done that a million times, which is why I still have it. Let's go ahead and move on to Melt Cosmetics right here. So I don't have a lot from the brand, but I have the good stuff from the brand, in my opinion. These are my favorites from the brand. So first up, we have She's in Parties. This one was also included in my favorite purple palettes video, and this is what she looks like. It's beautiful. I really enjoy it. The shimmers aren't anything to write home about in this palette, but the mattes are beautiful. I like the looks that I create with it. I don't know if it's like a favorite formula of mine, at least not in this capacity, but it is a good formula, so I will give it that. But this is a good formula from the brand. So I have the Gemini and the Gemini 2 palettes right here, and oh, they are so beautiful. The greens in here are gorgeous. I love this palette. I don't have any mold on mine. I haven't seen any, so I don't know if it's just like the original Gemini palettes or if it's the newer ones as well. I have had this a little while, but obviously it's not an original, but I do like this palette. I enjoy it. The formula is beautiful. Again, the shimmers aren't anything spectacular, but they are beautiful. And then I have the Gemini 2 palette as well. This is more of your rosy tones. These palettes actually go beautiful together. Like, they do pair really, really well. There's not any color overlapping in here, so I will give them that. There's a little bit, I want to say, like it kind of looks like it with these two shades right here, but they're not 100% the same, but they're similar. And it's the same thing like when you get down here with these shades. There's a little bit of similarities, but again, they're not the same. But I do enjoy both of these. I like the color stories. I like the formula. I feel like this is the good melt. As are these palettes right here. So this is the Vida and the Muerte palettes right here. These are gorgeous. I love these. I feel like everybody ranted and raved about these when they came out, and now they're not really anything spectacular anymore, but at the time they definitely were. So we have the Vita side right here. This is the bright, vibrant color story. It is gorgeous. I love these. They perform beautifully. I don't use this one very much because it's more of like a collector's item for me now. I know that's insane to say a collector's item for makeup, but you know, some people collect baseball cards, some people collect Legos. I collect makeup. It is what it is. To each their own. Mind your business. And then we have the Muerte side, which this side is so, so beautiful. I love the reds in here and the blues. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, I don't use this palette very much either. It's more of a collector's piece at this point. I love that I have both of them. I love that we have this fun candy skull. This is another one of those where this is the good formula from Melt. And then I picked up the Bailey Sarian Fatally Yours palette from Melt. So I love Bailey Sarian. I have been watching her channel for a very, very, very long time. I love hearing her stories. I love watching her do her makeup. I love listening to her voice. And it was about time that she collabed with Melt. Like, I don't think anybody was shocked. I think we were shocked it took as long as it did. But this is an all matte palette and it is absolutely gorgeous. And I have the insert because we have Bailey's eyes, and I remember whenever they sneak peeked this and they just showed the picture of her eyes and I was like, oh, that's Bailey Sarian. But this is a beautiful palette. The formula in here is the Good Melt formula. I like the colors in here. A couple of these, they kind of come off very similar on the eye, but I'm not mad about it. I love that I have an all matte palette that I can pair with my absolutely beautiful shimmery, shifty single shadows, and I love it. I'm here for it. I'm so happy that she finally got her collab, and what better brand than Melt. So I have one palette from the brand Mockingbird. This is actually the only palette that they have. They did release this last summer and I wanted to try it. I was excited to try it. I love it when a new indie brand comes out, and I did really enjoy the color story on this. This is a nice palette. It's not a favorite. It's not the best formula, but it has potential. These shades are very soft. They are very creamy, but they are also not the most pigmented once they go on their eye. They don't patch up or anything like that. They don't have like a full pigmentation, and you really have to kind of build them up a little bit. But I do get absolutely beautiful looks with this palette. I am excited to see what else, if anything else, the brand does in the future. And yeah, I always love to support a new brand, and I'm excited for them. This is pretty. I like it. It's not a favorite, but I like it. Oh my Morphe collection, y'all. This is all I have from Morphe. These are my Jaclyn Hill palettes, and I have these for nostalgia. Like, I have actually tried to get rid of these palettes, and for whatever reason, it either didn't happen, or it fell through, or just whatever, and I still have them. I think there's a reason, but let's go ahead and let's start with the original Jaclyn Hill palette right here. I was so excited about this palette. This was a Christmas present, and oh, she was loved. I thought this was so beautiful, so innovative, so colorful, and I mean, it's boring, but at the time, this was gorgeous. Like, this was absolutely beautiful. I have the one where the shade names are on the back right here, and yeah, like, it's dirty, it's loved. I loved Jaclyn Hill. I really did. I feel like there was a point where everybody loved Jaclyn Hill. Like, she was so genuine and so fun and so bubbly, and this reminds me of like the good old days. That's what this reminds me of. This reminds me of when I first got into watching YouTube, when I first really got into like makeup other than just like, oh, these are the 4 eyeshadows that I have. I do the same thing every day, and this is a makeup memory for me at this point. Like, there's a lot of nostalgia tied to this palette. I don't use it. I will never use it again, but it's just fun to look at and see how far things have come. And this was back when Morphe dominated. If you didn't use Morphe, like, who were you? Were you even doing makeup? Like, did you even know what you were doing? And I don't know. I like looking at it. I like knowing that I have it. And then I picked up the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I have used this one like a handful of times, but this one is colorful. This one is really colorful. I like this one better than the other one, but this really kicked off my love for color. It really, really did. And again, it's the same as the other one. I don't use it. I will never use it. It's nostalgia. I like to look at it. Like, y'all, all of these brown shades, they're all the same. They really are. They're all the same. There's no difference. And it's the same with like these berry colors. Like, they're the same. But it's fun to see where we come and, you know, see where Morphe used to be. Because like I said, they dominated. And then we had the good old, what was this called? The Vault. Is that what it was that she came out with, where she said that there was a bunch of shades she wanted to put in her palette that she couldn't, so she came out with the Vault. And then of course we got the Volume 2, and I'm like, girl, how many colors did you have? But I did not have any issues with these. I know some people said that they had quality issues. I really didn't. I enjoyed them. I don't use them, but they are beautiful. So again, we have the purple palette right here. It looks like we've got some hard pan going on, but I don't care. I don't use them, but this one is gorgeous. This one was my favorite. Then we have the Dark Magic right here. This is to me, a very neutral palette with some pops of blue in it, but it's greens and browns with a little bit of blue. We have our nude shade right here. This one is very pretty as well. We have the Ring the Alarm palette, and this is another like warm tone neutral palette to me. Like, this isn't as red as I thought it was back in the day. Like, I thought that was a red palette, and now I look at it and I'm like, nope, it's a warm tone neutral palette, but it's still beautiful. And then we have the Armed and Gorgeous palette. This one was a favorite as well. Like, this one and the Bling Boss were tied for like my favorite. This one was gorgeous. I think I actually probably got more use out of this one than the other one, but this one's really pretty. It's got fall vibes. It's got the greens. It's got the warm tones in it. Like, warm tones were it back in the day. Like, everybody did warm tones. Cool tones were not a thing. Nobody wore cool tones. But that's my Morphe collection. That's all I have left. These won't go anywhere. These will stay forever and ever and ever. But again, it's nostalgia. That's all it is at this point. I don't shop the brand anymore. But yeah, I have these forever. Okay, we have Natasha Denona. So I love Natasha Denona. I have really gotten into this brand. This has been one that was on my wish list for so long, but again, at that time, it wasn't in my budget. So I started out with the minis and I have graduated to the midis. I don't know if I will ever own any of the full-size palettes, but let's go over what I do have. So let's start with the baby palettes. Right here, I have the gold and the bronze version, and these are so pretty. I really love them. I love how tiny they are. I love that they come out at the holidays, and these are just travel friendly, easy to use, no brainers. These are cute. I really enjoy them. They're beautiful. These are my mini palettes. So I only have 4. This was the first one that I got. This is the mini Biba palette, and I really enjoy this palette. This is another one of those that I reach for a lot whenever I want just a simple no-brainer look. I like the color story in here. We have 1 shimmer, 4 mattes. It's beautiful. I really, really enjoy that one. And then I have the mini Love palette. Of course, it's got purples in it. This one's really pretty. It really is. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty. It's a good quality. I like the shimmers. I like the mattes. We only have 2 mattes in this palette, so you don't get a whole lot of variety when it comes to the looks, but if you mix up the shimmers, you can definitely get different looks out of it. And then we have the mini Starlet palette. This one came out sometime last year, and this one's really pretty. I was actually really impressed with how much I liked it. I picked it up because I like the mini palettes. I like that they're affordable. I like that you get a taste of her formula, and yeah, this one's really pretty. I enjoy it. I actually think I might enjoy it more than the mini Biba. It's a little more cool tone than the mini Biba, but it's beautiful. Do you need both? No, absolutely not. But yeah, it's beautiful. I did not pick up the mini My Dream because I felt like it looked very similar to this one, and I didn't see a need to have both. And then we have the mini Trio Chrome palette. This one is new. I'm still testing it out. I have used it in a Get Ready With Me. I am not impressed with this blue shadow here. The rest of them performed really, really well. So it's not a favorite, but I do like it. I like having it. I like the shade right here. It does look very beautiful. It's got like a green to blue flip. So I enjoy it. Not a favorite, but yeah, it is what it is. My MIDI palettes. So I only have 4 MIDI palettes. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one. This one was actually a gift, and this is the Glam palette. So this is a cool tone neutral palette. This is beautiful. This is absolutely stunning. I love the formula in here. I feel like her newer formula is better. The shimmers in here are not nearly as foiled and as sparkly as her newer ones, but if you're looking for a good everyday cool tone palette with a fantastic formula and you don't mind spending the, I believe it's $69 her palettes are now, this is beautiful. It is really, really nice. I like the formula. I wish it had shade names instead of like inner corner, center eyelid, but I guess the point of this was to just kind of like, here you go, lay it out here, give you some directions, kind of like Eye Makeup 101, I guess was kind of the idea behind it, but it is beautiful. I don't get a whole lot of use out of it because I have a lot of palettes and I don't usually go for neutrals, but I need to remember to pull this one out more often. Here is my favorite from the brand. This is the Yucca palette. So this one came out last summer, and this one came out with a plethora of like green eyeshadow palettes. So you had to kind of pick and choose when it came to it. But I went with this one. I like that we have like this soft touch packaging on here, and y'all, this color story, let me tell you what, this is gorgeous. These shimmers in here are so beautiful. I'm gonna swatch some even though like my hands are falling apart at this point, but look at that shade. Like, what in the world? But wait. This one here was this Plantasia. Y'all, look at how beautiful and like shiny and wet that shade looks. This palette is gorgeous. You do have two of her cream to powder formulas right here, which I like. I do really enjoy her cream to powder formula, and all of the shades in her palettes are removable, so you can definitely mix and match and make your own palettes with these. But these are gorgeous, and this shade right here, the Camu shade, y'all, need I say more? That is the most beautiful inner corner shade I have ever seen in my life. I love it. I get so many beautiful looks out of this. It's a spectacular formula. I'm so happy that she did this color story. I want to see more color from Natasha Denona like she used to do back in the day. Next is the I Need a Nude palette, and y'all, this is beautiful. This is the one that I was saying is very similar to the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette, but in my opinion, this one is better because you have more variety in your nudes, you have more variety in your shimmers. The shimmers are punchier, they are shinier, they are smoother, they have more pigment to them, so they are less toppery and more like actual shimmers. There are some toppers in here, but the price point is about the same. I think this one is $1 less, unless he has changed the price on that palette. So to me, if you're trying to choose between the two and you don't have either, it's a no-brainer. Like, go for this one all day, every day. It's beautiful. I really love it. This was so many people's favorite palette last year, and I just feel like everybody needs a good neutral palette, and this is definitely it. She hit this one out of the park. And lastly, we have the controversial Xenon palette. Y'all, this one took the internet by storm as well. This one was so talked about. It was so anticipated. Everybody had a different idea of what it was going to be, and it looks like it's in black and white, and it really is. But she had said that there was like a pink shade in here and like a blue shade, and so many people didn't see it. I see the pink shift in this shade. I really do. I truly do. I don't see so much of that blue. To me, this is like a blackened blue. Like, there is a blue undertone to it, but I don't know if I would go so far as to say that this is a blue shade in the palette. And this one, I see more of like a champagne-y tone to it, so I do see that, and I do enjoy this palette. I am one of the few people that really do enjoy this palette. I wish that we had the black shade in here because I don't have her black shade, so it makes me want to buy her mini Xenon just for that reason. But I enjoy it. It's to each their own. It is very black and white, but we do have a little bit of color variation, but you're not going to get anything, you know, different out of this palette. All of your looks are going to look similar. They're all going to look the same. I just wish that we had a black matte in here because all of the dark shades in here are satins or shimmers, and then all of our light shades are mattes. So that's my biggest issue with it, but I do enjoy it. I do like having it. It was a lot of money, and yeah, that's her. Nomad Cosmetics. I have quite a bit from this brand because I really like this brand. I like what they stand for. I think they're so fun. Nomad Cosmetics is a travel brand. So basically what they do is they travel around the world, and wherever they go, they come up with a place, they come up with a color story, and then there's like a really fun guessing game over on Instagram leading up to the reveal of the palette, and there's always some sort of charity associated with the palette. So I really enjoy it. I think it's fun. I have quite a few. I don't have all of them, but let's go ahead and start with these bigger ones right here. So the first one that we have is the Ghost Town USA palette. This one came out last Halloween. And this one is so much fun. I love the lenticular packaging on the front that goes from like what it looked like to the ghost town. And then if we open her up, we have this absolutely beautiful like neutral grungy tone palette right here. You've got your greens, your blues, your browns. I adore this palette. I really do. I think it's one of my absolute favorites from the brand. I know it's a little bit more on the boring side. It's not as poppy, but I just think this captures what they were going for perfectly. The shimmers in this palette are absolutely stunning. Like, these are beautiful shimmers. These are done right. They are so creamy, so soft, so buttery. Like, look at that. One swipe and we are good to go. Let's do this one over here. Yeah, I really love this palette. I never got the Haunted Europe palette, and I was so disappointed because I don't know why I didn't get it. I think it was probably a point where I was talking myself out of things, but from what I understand, they are supposedly re-releasing that one this year, and you can bet that I'm going to get it. Next, we have the Bosque Nuboso de Monteverde Cloud Forest palette. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. I can't guarantee it, but this palette is stunning. This is another favorite as well. This one is so colorful. This is a rainbow palette, and I adore it. We have all of our greens in here. We have these beautiful pops of color. The shimmers in here are really nice. They're, again, not the best from the palette. They are from the brand. The brand has just gotten so much better over the past several launches, but I love this. I love the idea behind it. I love that we have like the colors of the forest with the pops of color that you see in the rainforest as well. But look at those shimmers, like absolutely beautiful. Still one swipe, not as opaque and punchy as like the Ghost Town palette, but still beautiful. This is like a go-to rainbow palette for me. Not my absolute favorite rainbow palette, but I do really love this one. And then we have their Valentine's Day launch from last year. This was the Verona Amore y Muerte palette, which is Love and Death. And this one opens in the middle, and you have the love side and the death side. So when this one was released, there was like a batch of palettes where all of these shimmers were extremely hard pressed, so they resent them out to the people who sent in a request. I was one of those people. Like, I couldn't even pick up color with these. That's how hard pressed they were. So they resent them to me, and this one is still pretty hard pressed, but I can still pick up the color. I can still make it work. It's not like unusable by any means. This palette, I have like a love-hate relationship with it because I do really like it. I like the color story. I like the theming of it. I like that we have the reds and then we have the darker shades over here for death. But my biggest issue with this palette is that these shades right here are all so similar on the eyelid that it really limits your looks if you're going for like a pink look or a red look or something like that. Now, granted, you can mix and match the sides, so you can deepen up your looks with either this dark shade down here, the black right here, even this purple, so that's nice. But I just wish that there was more of a variance in these shades. But other than that, I really enjoy it. And yes, the shimmers in this one are still hard pressed. They're not my favorites. These are probably my least favorites out of all of the palettes. Like, there's not a whole lot there. They're not as punchy. They're not as like one swipe, I guess is what it is. But I do still like the theming. This just isn't my favorite palette from the brand. Okay, let's move on to the Whistler Snow Lodge palette right here. This one came out a couple of years ago at this point. This one is so pretty. This is a lot of people's favorite palettes. I really do enjoy this palette. I love a blue palette, which this does have the pops of blues in it. It does have this mint green right here, this deeper shade. We've got our black and our brown, our greens. I really enjoy this one. It is very, very pretty. To me, this one is just like winter in a palette, and the shimmers in here are beautiful. Like you can see, they picked up so much nicer. They work nicer. They've got that one swipe aspect to them again, and it's beautiful. This one just reminds me of winter. It inspires me in the winter. Even though I use my palettes year round, I really adore this one. It's beautiful. Then we have the Nomad Royal Europe palette. This one was also released last year, and this one is a full-on jewel tone palette. But first, let's adore this packaging, because first of all, this is like laser cut and layered on the front, so it's like starting to peel up because it's been messed with. I probably should have kept it in the box, but I didn't. But it's absolutely beautiful, and the shades in here are stunning. These are so pretty. They are very mid-tone and very dark, so for me, being so fair, I do have to either work very lightly if I want to use just this palette, or I need to bring in another palette so I can have more light shades for blending and things like that, inner corners. But this is gorgeous, and this palette has multi-chromes in it. So let me swatch out these multi-chromes, because these are beautiful. These are absolutely stunning. These multi-chromes are sold separately. I don't know if they still are, but they were when this palette came out. I mean, look at those. Those are so pretty. They're so buttery. They're so shifty. They're so shiny. This one's a good one. I really enjoy it. I enjoy it more than I thought I was going to. But again, like I said, it is a companion palette. I wish you could see the shifts in those, but they are beautiful. Up next is the Okavango Safari palette right here. This one came out last summer at a time when everybody was releasing like a green and brown neutral toned palette, and this one is so pretty. I love the packaging on this. It's like that soft touch, almost velvet packaging. And then you open her up, and that's exactly what we have, a neutral green color story, and I love it. I absolutely love it. If I'm going to go for a neutral palette, generally, this is what I'm drawn to. I love all neutrals, don't get me wrong, but I do really enjoy this one. My biggest thing with this one, again, is the shimmers are a little hard pressed. Not that one's gorgeous, but this one and this one, they are a little harder to pick up, but they do work. But when I say they're harder to pick up with a brush, but I don't use a brush for my shimmers, so it doesn't really bother me. But look at those shades, like that is beautiful. I love it. I love that we have this pop of silver in this palette. I think that's awesome. I love it. It's beautiful. I like the theming. I like the artwork in all the pans. This is a beautiful palette. This one is also one of my favorites from the brand as well. And then last we have our newest launch from the brand. Well, newest launch until pretty soon. There is another one coming out that I will be ordering, but this is the New Zealand Stargazing palette, and that packaging is beautiful, but the color story inside is so pretty. This is just a cool tone dream in a palette. I love this one. I love the color story. I love the pinks, the purples, the blues. We have a black, we have some lighter tones. So this is like, you can do your entire look with one palette, and the shimmers in here are so beautiful. Like, let's go ahead and swatch some of these bad boys, because these shimmers are soft. Like, look at how gorgeous and shifty that is. I don't know if you can see the shift on camera, but just look at that. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. This palette is gorgeous. It's a stunner. I like the theming. Again, I like the color story. I just really enjoy it. This is another favorite of the brand. So yes, I have a lot of favorites, but there's also some that aren't exactly my favorite, but I still enjoy the brand. I will still continue to buy from the brand just because even if it's not like the best quality, it's for a good cause. Okay, we have Odin's Eye, and we have quite a bit from Odin's Eye. I absolutely adore this brand. This is a brand that I have been buying from for a while. I have gotten rid of some of my older palettes. These are more newer palettes, collabs, things like that, but I love the brand. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. Let's start right here since it's on the top. This is the Jewels and Gemstones palette. This one also came out with the Stone and Rock palette, which is like a green and brown neutral palette yet again, but that one also launched at the same time as the Nomad palette and the Natasha Denona palette. So decisions were made. This one didn't make the cut. I do kind of regret that. I will eventually order it, but I did get the Jewels and Gems palette, and this one is beautiful. Again, we have cool tones. I do love cool tones. Even though I'm a sucker for warm tones, I do appreciate a good cool tone as well. But this one's gorgeous. We've got blues, we've got purples, mauves, all the things. It is very mid-tone, but we do have a lighter shade right here, and again, I can bring in other palettes to lighten this up. It doesn't really bother me. I just have to keep that in mind, like this is not an all-in-one palette for me. But again, the shimmers in here are beautiful. I really like this palette. It's gorgeous, and I do want to pick up the other one. Just really pretty, shifty, gorgeous. Absolutely love it. Let's talk about the Perfect World collection right here. I do have all three. This was a creator collab that came out the beginning of last year, and I absolutely love this collection. One, I love that we have smaller palettes. These are very curated. These are beautiful, but let's go ahead and start with the Flora Story palette, which is from Makeup Just for Fun. And I think this is a lot of people's favorites because this is probably the most like everyday wearable. Oh, I don't know. It's either that one or the Sea Talk palette, but this one is greens and purples, and it's beautiful. It is very wearable. The shades are very blendable. I haven't had any issues with it. It is the same Odin's Eye quality that I know and love. The shimmers in here are beautiful. Like Best Buds and Dawn are so pretty. Dawn is like the perfect like inner corner shade, topper shade, just that perfect little accent that you want. It is so shifty. You can put it on over a matte and it will completely change the entire look of the palette. But this one is beautiful. And then we have the Planet Spirit palette with Betty Jean right here. This one is so pretty. When these were released, this was like my absolute favorite. I knew I had to have it because it is so bright, so colorful. We have like this neon pink, this neon orange, magenta. I mean, we have all of the things in here. You can see it. You don't need me to name all of the colors, but this is beautiful. These shades work so pretty together. I have gotten so many bright, punchy looks out of this, so many compliments. I love it. This shade right here on Amalia is stunning, and then we have Majestic over here. Like, those are so metallic and beaming. Just I love them. Like I said, I am a sucker for shiny, beautiful things, and this palette is full of them. And then lastly, we have the Sea Talk palette from Lauren May, and this one is beautiful. This one actually became my favorite, which surprised me because it is like neutrals and blues with 2 pops of color. We've got like a yellow and a pink in there, but this one is so beautiful. First of all, I love blue and brown together. I have talked about that before, but then I love that we also have like this pop of like a seafoam green right here, and then this shade, this electric kelp shade, y'all, this shade is stunning. It's a satin, and it looks beautiful on the lid as an accent. It's a beautiful inner corner shade. It's just so beautiful. Like, oh, look at that. I love it so much. I feel like this captures the sea absolutely perfectly. This is the newest collection from the brand. This is the Diversa Series 2 collection. So it's the same creators. They did the Diversa series, I believe it was 2 years ago, and everybody loved those palettes. I did not get those palettes, so they collabed again, and now we have Diversa Series 2. I did recently do a video on all of these, so I'm not going to stay on them too long. I'm still testing them out, still getting my final thoughts. But let's start over here with the Mighty Monster palette from Annette's Makeup Corner. First of all, the artwork on all of these is absolutely stunning. I just love it, and that's one of the things about Odin's Eye is their artwork is beautiful. I know it's about what's inside, but I do love beautiful packaging. This is the color story in here, and this is absolutely beautiful. I love that we have this purple and this blue, more like pastel-y colors, and then you have this these jewel tones over here, your primary jewel tones. This palette is stunning. We've got our browns, we've got beautiful shimmers. I did create 2 different looks with this palette, and both looks were so completely different. You would never even know that they came from the same palette, but it's gorgeous. I love this shade here and this one here. Like, they are both just beautiful, like absolutely stunning shades. Annette did such a gorgeous job with this. Her looks are beautiful. They're seamless. This one's beautiful so far. I am really enjoying it. And then we have the Earthwood palette right here from Tina, the Fancy Face. This is gorgeous. This one has become probably my favorite of the 3 so far. I'm still testing, but look at how beautiful this palette is. Like, it is bright and poppy, but it's like muted out just a little bit. It's just desaturated in pigmentation, but yet it is still bright and punchy and so fun. I have gotten so many different looks out of this palette, and I really love it. I'm surprised that with this being a little bit more neutral that I love it as much as I do, but I think it's this shade right here. This shade Beauty, like, I oohed and awed over it in my video, and I still continue to ooh and awe over it because it's like a green with a gold flip multi-chrome. It's almost Topper-esque, but at the same time, it's not. It's just, it's absolutely stunning, and I love it. I can't get enough of it. I really enjoy this palette. I'm excited for this one. And then lastly, we have the Spring Dragon palette from Judy right here. And this one kind of took me back a little bit because we have a pastel palette from Odin's Eye, and I absolutely love that. I'm so happy to have pastels in one of my favorite formula, but this is more than just a pastel palette to me because we do have this brown down here so we can deepen up, and then we also have like this true pink up here as well, so we can add some depth with our looks instead of just having these light muted white base tones. So I really do enjoy that. I appreciate that. I love that she did that, and these shimmers in here again are absolutely beautiful. This palette is absolutely perfect for spring. I like the theming. I really enjoy this one, and I'm so happy to have a pastel palette from Odin's Eye. All of these ladies did such a beautiful job. Even the ladies in the other collection, the Perfect World collection, they all did such a beautiful job. I love it when creators collab with Odin's Eye because I feel like they just capture what they're working on so perfectly. Let's go ahead and talk about the collabs with Angelica Nyqvist. I do have all 3 of her palettes right here. So let's go ahead and start with her very first one, the Hella palette right here. This is gorgeous. First of all, that artwork is absolutely stunning. I love that Odin's Eye is centered around Norse mythology. I love mythology in general, whether it's Greek, Egyptian, Norse, all of it. I love it. But this one is stunning. I love the artwork on here. And the color story in here is so beautiful. This is just It's gorgeous. I love that we have the greens, we have the yellows, we have this brown right here, but then we've got the pinks and purples. Like, there is so much that can be done with this palette. It's absolutely beautiful. I've really enjoyed it while I've had it. I will never get rid of this palette. I will probably never get rid of any of my collab palettes. I just really enjoy supporting creators and what they do. But like these two shades right here, like River is such a stunning shade. This one with any of the looks in this palette just completely transforms the entire look, and it's beautiful. Double-sided is gorgeous as well. All of these are beautiful, but Angie did such a good job with this palette. I absolutely love and adore it. Up next, we have her two palettes that she did for Halloween. So we have the Trick or Treat palette and we have the Little Ghost palette. This is the Trick or Treat palette right here. This is her Halloween collection, actually. And this one just perfectly captures Halloween. Like, it is your orange, your green. This is such a dark brown that it almost looks black. You've got your purples in here. Like, this is Halloween in a palette. This is what you typically think of when you think of Halloween. And this one is gorgeous. Like, look at that green shimmer. Like, what in the world? It is so beautiful. I love this one. This one ended up being my favorite of the two. Look at that green. Absolutely beautiful. But this one did end up being my favorite of the two, which kind of shocked me because when you see the other one, I thought that one would be my favorite, but I ended up playing with this one more. This is the Little Ghost palette, and this one is so pretty. This one is like the playful side of Halloween, but you can see it is purples, it is blues. We have like this pop of a deeper red down here. So in my mind, I thought, oh, that's going to be my favorite palette. But no, I love the other one more. I do love this one. This one is absolutely beautiful. Again, the shimmers in here are beautiful. The mattes are beautiful. These blues create just such a beautiful look right here. And then these purples, you could do like a purple with the two shimmers. I really enjoy this palette. This shade right here is like the perfect inner corner shade. It's a matte, like, it's got like a hint of purple in it. It is such a faint color, but it's the perfect inner corner shade. And this is like a sparkly white, so you've got two perfect inner corner shades. I love it. I reach for this one a lot for that reason. But these shimmers again are stunning. Like, that blue is gorgeous. I really enjoy this one. And again, she knocked it out of the park. She always does. She just has such an eye for color stories, for themes, for just matching colors together, and I love it. Okay, Christmas palettes. I have both releases. I have the 2022 and the 2023. I have the Merry Christmas palette, the Christmas Eve, Hey Reindeer, and Snow Dream right here. I do like these more than I like these, but they're all absolutely beautiful. So let's start with the Christmas Eve palette first. So this one is another one of those that perfectly captures winter. Why do I still have this on here? Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It's so strange. But this one, again, perfectly captures winter with these cool tones, with this pop of blue for like cold. This one's so pretty. I really love this one. To me, this one just, like I said, it screams winter, and it's gorgeous. The shimmers in here, again, are absolutely beautiful. I feel like a broken record sitting here saying the same things over and over, but that right there, I love it because you're seeing like purple on camera and I'm seeing like this silvery blue. Yep, I love it. I'm here for it. Absolutely beautiful. I love the blues. I love that we have this pop of gray and like this grungy, like poopy shade right here. I know that sounds awful, but it's beautiful and I love it. And then we have the Merry Christmas palette. Both of these palettes, like, the hype was real with them. People were so excited for them. They sold out. They brought them back. They sold out again. And then they brought them back last year and people lost their mind when they brought them back. But This one captures Christmas perfectly. This one is your red and green color story. Yes, we've got a couple pops of like orange and pink in here, which I love because it gives more diversity to the palette. But we've got like our true gold right here. We've got green. I really enjoy this one. This one makes me think of Christmas. This one gets me excited. Christmas is my absolute favorite holiday. I love it. I go crazy for it. I just love that time of year. It's that one time of year where I feel like everything is just, it's nice and it's just, I don't know, it's beautiful. I love the decorations. I love everything about it. I love this palette. And then we have the newest ones from the Christmas collection that released last year. Let's start with the Snow Dream palette. So this one right here is again more of like your Christmassy colors, but they're more muted and desaturated than the Merry Christmas palette. Like these two actually go beautifully together. These two shades are not the same. This one is a little bit brighter, and this shade and this shade are not the same either. Obviously, this one's just a little bit lighter, but I like this one. This one is a perfect companion for this palette over here. It's gorgeous. I love the shimmers. I love the mattes. I love that I can get some lighter, brighter looks with it. This shade is really, really pretty too. I enjoy that. I like that we have a matte white. Let's do a couple of shimmers. I am running out of room. I need to clean off my arm, but these are beautiful. Again, this one right here is probably my favorite in the palette. Let's go right here. Just so pretty. I love it. I haven't had any hard panning with any of my shimmers in any of these palettes either. I have heard people talk about that, and I haven't. I am definitely a person who likes to use their fingers for their shimmers. This shade, oh my gosh, is so, so beautiful. But I haven't had any issues with that, so I don't know if it's just me. That's like the most beautiful holographic shade ever. Like, can we just talk about that for a second? Because this one, it blows my mind every single time I swatch it. Can you see like all of like the prism colors in there? It's beautiful. But yeah, I haven't had any issues with hard panning, so that makes me very happy. And then we have the Hey Reindeer palette. So this is the other Christmas one that was released. Again, why did I not take off the plastic of these? That's really annoying. But this one's different and I love it. I really do. I feel like this one is just like winter childhood. Like this has the pinks, it's got the teals, it's got the orange, the red. It's different and I like it. I like that it's different for a Christmas palette because there's only so many color stories you can do for Christmas without being repetitive, and this one's just different. I really enjoy it. I like it. I don't think that these two were as like well received as the other two Christmas palettes because I think people just, you know, one thing comes out and it's absolutely beautiful and then your expectations are high and I don't know, you have this image built up in your head and I don't think this is what people expected, but nevertheless, I still think it's absolutely gorgeous. Let's swatch a couple of these really quick because I am just blabbering at this point and going on and on about how much I love Odin's Eye, but I really do. It's definitely a favorite brand. This one and another one are my favorite, my absolute two favorite brands out of all of them. So Odin's Eye and Unearthly, my two favorites. But I'm excited to see what Odin's Eye does this year. Veron Cosmetics. This is the only palette I have from the brand. It's the only eyeshadows I've ever tried from the brand. This is the Falling in Love palette in collaboration with Allie Dawson here on YouTube. This one came out last year and I adore Allie. I really do. She's so fun. She's so sweet. Her stories are the best, and this is Allie in a palette. This captures her perfectly. She absolutely loves fall. She loves Halloween. It's her favorite time of year, and I love this color story. I wore this so much, and every time I got so many compliments on my eye looks. My go-to was doing these three shades together on the lid with the topper and this on my lower lash line, and it's stunning, absolutely beautiful. There's so much diversity in this palette, but this shade right here in the middle is like a beautiful lid shimmer, inner corner shimmer, even a highlighter. Like, it is so pretty. I really enjoy it. I love it. I'm impressed with the quality from Ofra. I've heard hit or miss things, but this one is beautiful. We have made it to Pat McGrath, and I only have 2 palettes from Pat McGrath. I have one Mothership right here that I bought out of sheer curiosity, and then I have this one that was a Christmas present. This is from the holiday collection. I think it's the Bijou Brilliance is what it's called. But let's start with this one. This is the Mothership 10, I believe. This is, I drew Bronze Seduction. I drew a complete blank. And this is what she looks like. This is beautiful. Between this and Divine Rose, it's a lot of people's favorites. I actually chose this, well, I chose this one because they were out of the Divine Rose when I went to pick it up. I did pick it up in store, and I have thoughts. I have mixed feelings on this. I do really love this palette. I do really enjoy it. It is very pretty. I will say that the 3 mattes that we get in here, they are very dark, but if I go in lightly with this one, I can definitely use it as like a transition shade. But it is beautiful. I do really enjoy it. I understand like the hype with her special shades. Like, those are absolutely beautiful. But I'm going to be honest, I feel like I can get shades that are just as pretty, just as sparkly, smoother than these in my indie palettes, and they're like half the price, if not less. This is not a cheap palette. It has a hefty price tag, and I guess my whole thing is, yes, it's pretty. It's not my favorite formula. It is a very nice formula, but this is, I don't know how to put this. It's not worth the money, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I just don't understand where this is worth $125, $130, whatever they are these days. I just don't see it. Yes, the packaging is sturdy. It's gorgeous. It's very luxe. The packaging is beautiful. The carton that it comes in, all of that, I get it. It's just $125 is a hard pill to swallow for a palette because it is heavy, it is big, you can't travel with it because 1, it's heavy, 2, if it shattered, you would be devastated. So I don't know, I have mixed feelings. It is beautiful, I do love it, I do enjoy it. I just can't see me buying another Mothership palette unless they came out with something that was like beautiful theming or a color story that I couldn't live without. But let's be honest, she does a lot of pinks and golds these days, so I don't see that happening either. And then I have this one from the Bijou Brilliance collection. This is the Starstruck Splendor, and this is nice. This packaging is sturdier than I thought it was going to be, and I do really like it. It has a big mirror. It has these to hold the palette open, which I really appreciate. But yeah. It's got 2 blushes in here. I really enjoy her blush formula. I enjoy her bronzer formula. I enjoy her lipsticks. I enjoy all of that more than I enjoy her eyeshadows. But the greens in here are beautiful. I will give it that. These are not her special shades by any means. They are beautiful, but if you're looking for the shades that come in her big Mothership palettes, these are not them. They are beautiful, they are shimmery, they are shiny, but they are not that formula. And then, yeah, it's got the same mattes that are in every palette. And when I say the same mattes that are in every palette, tell me I'm wrong. I mean, this and this, that's like the same shade right there. Same shade. This one and this one, they're very similar as well. This one is a little bit more on the warm tone, and this one is a little bit more on like the mauvey side. But I mean, they're the same shades, just different palette, different packaging. Even like these 2 shades here, they are so incredibly similar. Like, it's kind of mind-blowing when you look at it. it's like, okay, she just took shades and basically repackaged them. Yes, this one has a little bit more of like a pinky undertone to it, but once you get it on the eye, it's like the same effect. So that's disappointing, and that's something I wish you would quit doing. But yeah, it's kind of hit or miss for me as to something that I do like, I'm attracted to, anything I will pick up in the future. I'm more likely to go for her complexion products than I am for her eyeshadows. That's just me. Rebel Rouge Labs. Turn it around, that would be nice. I have one palette from the brand, and I bought this palette because of the theming. 110%, that was the only reason I bought it. I didn't care what the quality was like. I really could have cared less about the story or the color story. I bought it because this is a labyrinth themed palette. This is the As the World Falls Down palette, and this is one of my favorite movies, y'all. I had my kids watch this a couple years ago. Keep in mind they are 15 and 16. They absolutely love watching older movies. They enjoy them. A lot of my stupidity is their favorite movies, but they told me this movie was weird, and it kind of disappointed me because I absolutely love it. It's got David Bowie in it, and it's a masterpiece. It was one of my favorites as a kid. I love David Bowie. I love his music. I love the movie. I'm here for it. But yeah, I bought this because of the theming, and it is a neutral palette, which completely to be expected. If you've seen the movie, you know it just has kind of the dark, deep, grungy tones in it, very desaturated, but beautiful. And I will say that this is very well done, that the color story captures the music. Gosh, it captures the movie beautifully. The shades in here are gorgeous. The mattes do work absolutely beautifully. The shimmers aren't anything like spectacular, but they are very metallic on the lid. They are beautiful. So it's not a loss. It's not a bad formula at all. Like, those are beautiful. I do want to try more from the brand. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I do believe that this brand is on Etsy. I could be wrong, but I think it's on Etsy. Like, I'm 99.9% sure, but I love this palette. This is my one little quad from Rowan. I bought this. This was another one that Lauren May Beauty went on and on about. Her and somebody else, I can't remember who it was, but they talked about how beautiful these quads are. So I picked up the 1111 quad, and this is beautiful. It really is, but I'm a little disappointed. It wasn't what I expected. Maybe I got a dud. I need y'all to let me know down below, because this shade right here, like, it's got hard pan on it. It's so incredibly hard pressed. Like, I have to dig my finger into it. Like, I am pushing so hard to get any payoff. The rest of these are creamy. They're beautiful. These are definitely like one and done shades, which I know is the point of it, but I don't know. I think I got a dud. I probably should have reached out to the company, but I didn't, because I didn't try it like as soon as I got it, which is my own fault. But let me know your thoughts on this. Did I get a dud? Does anybody else have this issue? Should I try again? I don't know, because these are not cheap. These are like, oh, is it like $55 or something like that for a quad? I know I've spent more on other quads, but still, it was kind of disappointing, this shade right here. But let me know. I want to know if anybody else has that issue. I want to know if it's just me. Should I give it another shot? Because it is beautiful. That was disappointing. Shroud Cosmetics. So I have the two palettes from Betty Jean, or Batty Bean, and I have the It's Freakin' Bats and the Hello Bean palette. These are both so pretty, so fun. These encapture her perfectly. I love the theming on these. I love the color stories. She did such a beautiful job. Let's start with It's Freakin' Bats. This is the color story, and it is gorgeous. It is swampy, it is grungy, it is all of those words that sound awful, but they are not awful at all. I love the shade names. I love the shades in here. This is a beautiful palette. I really enjoy this one, more so in the fall when I'm feeling that vibe. But again, look at those shades. Absolutely beautiful. I love this palette. It's beautiful. She did such a good job. And then I like the Halloween one as well. I think I might actually like this one more because I like the colors in it just a little bit more. I like the theming more. This shade right here, Black Flame, like, oh, it is so beautiful. I'm going to show you. Let me just wipe my arm off. Well, we'll go for the other arm. But it's beautiful. This shade right here, this one, and this one, oh, they are so pretty. Like, this is a Halloween palette to me, and I love it. I'm not mad about it in any way, shape, or form. But that Black Flame is like the most beautiful purple with a black base to it. And then we've got the orange, and then we've got Ghoulish, which is just this absolutely beautiful, like, ethereal topper shade. This is beautiful. I love it. I really enjoy the formula. I would love to try more from the brand. I haven't gotten around to it. There's so much, y'all. There's a lot, and it's hard to keep up. Sigma Beauty. I have two palettes from the brand. I have the New Mod, and then I have the Beauty and the Beast palette. So let's start with the New Mod. This packaging is nice. It's not my favorite because it's so light. It shows like everything, and it looks dirty, it looks worn, but it is what it is. The color story in here is beautiful. That shiny background is going to throw it off, but it is like mauvey purple tones with some pops of gold and a brown in it, and this is really pretty. It's very pretty. They do have a nice formula. It's not my favorite formula, I will say that. I mean, the shades blend nicely, they build up nicely. It's just, I have other formulas that I prefer that are easier to work with, they're more pigmented, that I like better, and especially at the price point. But this is a very pretty palette. I am happy to have it. I'm glad that I tried it. I don't hate it by any means. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when it comes down to recommending formulas, it's not a favorite formula for me. Although those shimmers are beautiful, yeah, it's not an absolute favorite, but it is pretty. Then we have the Beauty and the Beast palette. This one came out the end of last year, I believe, and I bought this because it's a Beauty and the Beast palette. I'm not gonna lie. Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie. I absolutely love. I say favorite Disney movie. It's like my favorite, like, I guess, traditional Disney movie, because The Emperor's New Groove is far more superior, let's be honest. But when I was a kid, the Disney movies always came out like on or around my birthday. My birthday is June 24th. So they would always come out like the 25th, the 23rd, the 26th, whatever. And every year we would go see the new Disney movie in the theater. And this is like the first one I really remember seeing in the theater, and I absolutely love it. I was obsessed with it. I still am. I did like the live action version, and yeah. But anyways, this is the palette right here. It comes with this beautiful insert, and this is the color story. I feel like the color story is perfect. It encapsulates the movie perfect. We've got the navy blue for Beast. We've got the gold for Belle. We've got these beautiful like purple mauves, these warm tone browns. I do really enjoy this. I think it's a beautiful palette. I have used it. The quality is great. Again, it's not my favorite, but it is really nice. And like I said, I love the theming of it. Oh wow, I still have I still have colorful shimmers on my arm, y'all. This is turning out to be a mess, but it is beautiful. I do enjoy it. And again, it's the theming for me. I'm a sucker for theming, for packaging, for sparkly, for all the things. I have one palette from Simply Posh. This one came out last winter, and I really enjoy this one. This one is beautiful. This is the Berry Icy palette. It is a blue, purple, mauvey, minty dream is what this is, and I love it. I like the formula in here. I like the shimmers. I like the layout. Like, that is so aesthetically pleasing. You can pop all of these out, rearrange them, make your own palettes with other palettes of theirs, but this is the only one that I have. I do really want to get the Citrus Punch palette. I was going to get it, and then people were talking about how awful like the quality was in it, how hard pressed the shimmers were, so I skipped on it. But they have announced that they are re-releasing that palette with their new updated formula, and you can bet that I will definitely pick it up. So I will get that one. I'm excited to see what else they have. I did not pick up their Aurora Lights palette. I don't know. Again, I can't get everything. I have to pick and choose, but this is beautiful. I do enjoy the formula. I'm excited to see what the brand does this year, and I want to pick up more. Skin by Kim, the Classic Mattes Eyeshadow Palette. So this is the rebrand of KKW, which is Kim Kardashian's beauty brand right here. So everything is under the Skin name now, but this is just, it's exactly what it says it is. It is a matte neutral palette, and I mean, are we surprised this was her first release as a rebrand? No. But the formula is beautiful in this. I will absolutely give it that. It is really nice. It's different from the original formula, but it's not, I don't know if it's better, but it's not worse, but it's just, it's different. It is a really nice formula. I do like the way that these performed. I like the way that these went on my eye. I do have a dedicated video using this palette. I have already speed reviewed this palette. It's nice. I feel like the price point is a little bit high. It's definitely higher than what she was at KKW. I think this was either $50 or $55, and I don't know. I mean, yes, it's the same price as like a Makeup by Mario palette or some other ones like that, but yeah, it's a matte neutral palette. I do enjoy it. I do like it. I like the formula. I'm excited to see what the brand does. I'm waiting for her to jump more into like the colorful side of things, more like the camo palette, or what was the one that she had with Mario, stuff like that. That's what I'm waiting for. But this was her first release. This is the palette. If you're looking for a neutral matte palette, this formula is really, really nice. I have not tried the Makeup by Mario one yet. I do want to do some comparisons because the color story is almost identical shade for shade. So that will be coming up, but for now, I enjoy it. I love it. I do get a lot of use out of it. I like to use this one with my single shimmer shades if I just want to like throw a shade in the crease and then throw a beautiful sparkle on my lid. I do reach for this one actually quite a bit because it's just like my skin tone shade that I can use to fluff things out. So I do enjoy this palette. I think her price point is a little bit high, but it's nothing compared to her skincare. Like, that is wild. Sugar Drizzle. I have two palettes from Sugar Drizzle. I really enjoy the brand. I like the quality. I like the price point. I just haven't found another color story that I'm really drawn to, which is a shame because there's been so many times I've almost pulled the trigger and then for some reason I just haven't. I don't know what it is, but let's start with the Mattes palette right here. I did feature this in my favorite purple eyeshadow palettes video, and it is a all purple matte eyeshadow palette. That's exactly what it is. Yes, it's big. It could have been curated down. We do have some overlapping of shades, but again, it's all purples. I mean, there's only so much you can do with purple. It could have been scaled back, but it is what it is. We do have these couple pops of teals in it, which I do really like. I like that we have warm tones, we have cool tones, we've got desaturation, we've got pastels, we've got dark, we've got vibrant, we have all the things in here. So the quality is really nice. I do enjoy it. This is like a go-to if I'm like, oh, I really need a purple shade that's like that. I pull out this palette. I pull out this palette so much because of the shades that are in it. It's a companion palette for me. Like I said, I use it to either fill in the gaps of another palette, or I use it with a good shimmer shade that I think a purple would go with, or even a teal. I do enjoy it. If you're looking for an all purple matte palette, this one's fantastic. And then we have the Trashed palette, and this one is so cute. Like, look at the little trash panda on the front. He's so cute with his little sunglasses on. But this is an all shimmer palette from the brand, and this is beautiful. The shimmers in here are gorgeous. We have multi-chromes, we have duochromes, we have foils, we have different textures, we have all the things in here. It's gorgeous. The price point is more on the affordable edge. If you've ever looked at like Cleonad, like, this is so much more affordable, and the quality is up there. It is really, really good. These are shifty, these are shiny, they last on my eyes. You get good pan sizes. Like, I really, really enjoy it. I think it's a fantastic brand. I do want to try more. I'm waiting for a color story that calls my name. That's all it really is. My Sydney Grace palettes. These palettes make me so happy, but like so sad at the same time. Mel Thompson was one of the first YouTubers I ever watched. I think it was like Makeup by Tiffany D, and then I found Candy Johnson, and then somehow I found Mel Thompson. It's been a really long time, but she's not here anymore. I did not know her personally. I just watched her channel. I loved her channel. I loved her reviews. I loved her eye for beauty. I really enjoyed her, and it makes me sad because her life was ended so soon, and she did have little kids. She had a family. She was a mom, a wife, a daughter, all of the things. But anyways, this is the palette that she did with Sydney Grace. This is still available on their website. Both of these are, and the proceeds go to the family. So if you're interested, you can definitely help some people out. But this is gorgeous. I love the artwork on the front, like the tattoo themed arm artwork. It's beautiful. The color story in here is stunning. I need to use this palette more, but I'm like, I don't want to use it because of what it is, but I need to use it. I need to give it the love. That's what it was meant for, and I need to. But this is a beautiful palette. I do really enjoy the Sydney Grace formula. It's so soft, so buttery. They are definitely more of like a neutral toned eyeshadow company. Like, it is an indie brand, but their stuff is more like on the neutral side, like very bridal-esque in my world. That shade Scarab is stunning. The shimmers in here are gorgeous, but yeah, I just haven't tried more from the brand for that very reason, but they're always on my radar. I do love this palette. It is beautiful. This palette will never ever ever go anywhere. Neither will this one right here. So this one, hold on, let me clean off my arm really quick. So this one isn't really a palette. It is a bundle of single shadows. Ignore this one right here. This is an extra one they threw in because when I ordered this, they forgot the singles, so they had to reship the singles, and they threw this one in here as like a "we're sorry," which was really sweet. I appreciate it. Don't expect it, but it's nice. But this right here is the bundle that Mel Thompson curated as like her version of the Natasha Denona retro palette. So they had the Natasha Denona mini retro palette, and she took a bunch of singles from Sydney Grace, which was one of her favorite brands, and was like, this is what I think the palette should look like. The midi palette did not come into fruition while she was alive. It came in after, and I like her version better personally. So I bought the bundle, I bought the palette, and this is what I have over that Natasha Denona palette, and it's beautiful. I love the color story. I love the quality of the shades. It's absolutely beautiful. This is just such a beautiful soft color story with like a pop of color, and I really enjoy it. Again, I do believe that this is still available on their website. You can pick it up. It's under bundles. I think it's the In Mel's Memory bundle is what it's called. But again, the proceeds go to her family, and I really enjoy this one as well. So I keep it with my palettes instead of with my singles. I need to get a smaller palette where just these fit in it, and then I can use this for singles. I haven't done it yet. Tarte Cosmetics. This is the only palette I have left from Tarte. I have gotten rid of the rest of them. They were used to death. They were falling apart. They were old. I gave them away to friends, different things. But I do still have the Tartelette in Bloom because this is a beautiful palette for one. It's still a beautiful palette. It is a fantastic formula from the brand. Every now and then they come out with a palette that I like, and for some reason I talk myself out of it. I don't know why, but I really enjoy this one. This one was a palette that people went crazy over for the longest time because it's like the perfect neutral palette. I'm sure you've seen it before. This is nothing new. The gold is messing with my lights, but that's exactly what this is. This is a very easy, simple go-to eyeshadow palette with some beautiful shimmers in it. They're not the best shimmer formula in the world, but they get the job done. They do look beautiful on the eye, and this is just one of those that it brings back memories yet again. It's just, I have ties to it. I enjoy it. I like it. I still use it. It still smells good. This is actually my second one because the first one I did hit pan in, I think this shade, and this shade maybe even a shimmer. I don't know. So I rebought it a few years ago and I haven't used it as much, but I do still really enjoy it. Tati Beauty Volume 1. Y'all, ugh, this hurts my heart too because she put so much love into this palette, and for the rest of it to not happen just really hurts. But this is a beautiful palette. I don't use it anymore. I actually did use it a couple months ago, I think, at this point, because I wanted to see if it still performed, and it does still perform. It doesn't perform as beautifully as it did when I first bought it. It's a little older, on the older side now, but it's still absolutely beautiful. I loved the concept behind this palette. I loved that we had all of these different shades and then we had different textures. These pressed glitters up here, this is a pressed glitter done right. These are not overly chunky, they're not irritating, they don't feel heavy, they don't feel like uncomfortable on the lid. It is beautiful. And then we have our metallics, our sequins, and our mattes. This is beautiful. This was like my favorite row in the entire palette, which I know you would think it's this one, but there was something about this story color that I absolutely love, and I enjoy this palette. I wish we had gotten to see more from the brand. I really, really do. I'm hoping in the future maybe she will try something else under a different name, whether it's her own name or something that means something to her. I don't know. I'm hoping that we get to see more from her because this was a genius idea. I love it. It's beautiful. And I want to know what else she had in mind. But it won't ever go anywhere. It's beautiful. Terra Moons. I have two palettes from Terra Moons. These are new. I have only had them for like about a week. Flip this one over. I believe the video for this will go up the day before you see this, so you will have seen these in action. I am still testing them. I am still playing with them, but this is the Lovers of the Sun collection. I only picked up the palettes, and we have I think this is the lunar version. We have the lunar version and we have the solar version. So in that video you saw that this one was a little bit of a disappointment. I am still playing with it, testing it. I told you I was going to see if maybe it was the primer, so I will continue to do that, but this one is beautiful. I really enjoy it. The mattes are fantastic. I like the color story. The shimmers in both of these are absolutely stunning. So if you want to see like full in-depth review on these, you can definitely check out those videos. Let's do just a couple of swatches, like one from each palette. Oh, I have to do this one because it's stunning. So, but look at those shades. Like, this is the first time I've ever tried Terra Moons. People talk about how beautiful their formula is, and they are mostly single shadows, so that's part of the reason I've never tried them before, but this is beautiful. The shimmers alone in these palettes are stunning, so even if these mattes don't perform, these will still get use out of my palette. They just obviously won't get as much use because of that matte right there, but who knows, it could have been the day, it could have been I slept funny the night before, who knows the reason why, but these are very, very pretty. I'm still testing them out, but I'm excited to have them in my collection. Next is Tom Ford, and I have one little Tom Ford quad because I wanted to try out the formula. I wanted to test out the brand. Everybody goes on and on about Tom Ford quads, and I picked up Nude Dip. I've had this for maybe a year and a half now. This is always confusing. I feel like it should open from down here instead of up here, but this is the one that I got, and this is all shimmer shades. I think this is just there. I don't know. It's not the wet to dry formula, I don't think. I don't know all the ins and outs of Tom Ford. I'm still learning, but this is very pretty. I will give it that. This is like one and done shades. You can create an entire look with it, but it was meant for that simplicity, one and done kind of thing. I will say the formula is beautiful. It is very smooth. It is very sophisticated. They do look absolutely beautiful on the lid. I understand, but I guess this is made for more of the person who this is their eyeshadow collection. Like, this is it. Or maybe they have 3 or 4 of them and they wear like the same thing every day. I get it. I completely get it. But as somebody who has a huge collection and they love indie brands, they love shine, they love sparkle, this isn't something I'm going to get a ton of use out of. I will use it, absolutely. I did spend my money on it. These are not cheap. They're like 90 bucks, which, yeah, that's a lot of money for a quad. Like, if I want to talk about Pat McGrath being insane, like, y'all, Tom Ford's nuts, but I get it. I understand. I do want to try like the wet to dry formula. I do want to try some of his more colorful quads, things like that. But it's not anything I could ever see me having like a huge Tom Ford collection. I say that, who knows? Maybe I could become that girl one day. You never know what the future holds. But this is a pretty formula. I have other luxury formulas that I think are better, and we will be getting to that very shortly. The only palette I have from Too Faced, who remembers or who still has the I Want Candy palette right here? Y'all, this was my first high-end palette. This is my first Too Faced palette, my first collab palette. Like, I was so excited for this palette. My kids were little. I was single mom. Like, this was a lot for me at the time. Like, yeah, it was a lot for me at the time, and I pined for this. Like, I was so quick to get up to my local Ulta and pick this bad boy up. But this is the palette right here. I did use the crap out of it. I loved it. I loved the concept of it. I love that we basically have 3 little quads in here, and then we have these shades down here. We have a warm tone, cool tone, like cream colored, and then we have this shade right here, which is called Whipped Cream, which is like a transformative satin shade. And this palette was beautiful. It faintly, like very faintly, still smells like candy, which is a shame because, yeah, that means she's getting old, but I don't use her anymore. I absolutely don't. This is just pure nostalgia. That's all this is. This is 100% nostalgia for me. I will never get rid of it. But let's swatch. Let's see if these will even swatch. Like, they do. They feel a little on the drier side, but they definitely swatch. They definitely perform. But this palette was beautiful. I loved it. I used it all the time. This was like the only eyeshadow palette I had for the longest time. And again, like I said, memories. I love it. It's beautiful. This is tin, so it's like a little candy tin right here, like C's Candies or something like that. And then the back, look at the shade names. Look how cute that is. They look like little chocolates. I wish I had kept the insert because it looked like one of the little like papers that went over the box of chocolates that you would buy. But this is beautiful. I loved it. I will treasure this forever. Let me know if you still have this, if you got rid of it, if you even picked it up. Like, let me know, because I've only seen like maybe 2 other people that still have this palette, and I think they've actually since gotten rid of it. But this one will never go anywhere. You will see this in every single collection, declutter, all of the things. So just, you'll get to know her very well. Unearthly, we have another big collection right here. This one, as well as Odin's Eye, those are my 2 absolute favorite indie brands. These 2 right here, I absolutely love them. But let's go ahead and jump into this because we have quite a bit. So we're going to start right here with this little stack. So this is the Lura palette. This is not the original Lura palette. This is like the newer one where she remade them with smaller palettes. But first of all, let's talk about the Medusa on the front. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. Again, mythology. And the color story inside is so pretty. I adore it. I like the oranges. I like that we have a black. I like that we have this purple up here. This is a beautiful palette. I know this is a lot of people's like one of their favorites from the brand, and I do really enjoy it. I like it. I like the shimmers in here. I will say their shimmers have gotten better over the years. They are like so shifty these days, but this is a beautiful palette. I do really like that. And look at those shimmers. Absolutely stunning, and this isn't even the best that the brand has to offer. And then we have the Dead of Night palette right here. I did also include this one. Oh, also that green shades in, or that green shade stains in the Lura palette. But this one was in my favorite purple palettes video, and for good reason, because it is primarily a purple palette with some blue and green in it. This is gorgeous. I love it. Again, the quality, the blendability, the ability to have the shades build up on each other, to blend them out with each other. Her color stories are always so unique, so fun. This one I really do adore. It looks very, very dark, but with this shade and this shade, you can really do so many different looks. And those shimmers are stunning. Again, like, I love it. I'm here for it. This is a beautiful palette. Fall Magic. This is my absolute favorite palette from the brand. This is an older palette. This one actually came out when they were Alien Cosmetics. I don't have the Alien Cosmetics brand. I do have the Unearthly version of it, but I love it. Like, it's fall in a palette. It's a Fall Magic palette, and it has everything I want. This is like my idea of a perfect palette. Like, if I could only have 10 palettes in my collection, this would definitely be one of them. Hands down, no questions asked. I wouldn't even regret it. Like, this is the one palette from the brand that will never, ever, ever go anywhere. I love it that much. I wear the crap out of it in the fall. It's beautiful. The shimmers in here are very pretty. They are not as fantastic as their newer shimmers, but they are still beautiful. They're still sparkly. They're still shiny. They are still punchy. Like, look at that. You will see as we get into their newer palettes that their newer shimmers are more on like the shifty side, the topper-esque side, the ethereal side, whereas these are like pigmented. They're punchy. They're beautiful. I love it. This palette will never go anywhere. I love it. If anything were to happen to it, I think I would fall apart immediately. We have the Heather Austin Resurgence palette. This is the collab that Heather Austin did with the brand last year, and this is so pretty. It's so fun. Like, the packaging is beautiful with the beetles on there, but look at that color story. Like, this color story is so pretty. My eyes don't know where to go. You've got this neon green, this blue, this red. You can mix these shades together to get a purple. This is so fun. This is so creative. I love her thought process behind this. The shimmers in here, again, are absolutely gorgeous. This shade creation and the shade transformation, that's exactly what they are. Like, look at how beautiful those shades are. Like, absolutely stunning, shiny, shimmery, shifty, beautiful, beautiful palette. I love it. Let's start with this smaller little guy right here. This is the Spaced Out palette. This came out in her Summer Mystery Box, the small one, last year. I do believe that these are still available on the website. And this is the color story in here. This is cute. This is fun. This is very summery. It's something different from the brand as far as color story goes. And believe it or not, these colors all go together. This shade right here, Cool Beans, like, it is such a dark, dark, dark pigmented brown. But watch this, because this blows my mind. Like, one swipe, the pigmentation is there. It doesn't skip until the end. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it. And I am making a mess over here, y'all. Like, a huge, huge mess. Like, oh gosh. Anyways, I adore this color story. It's pretty. I was not gonna pick up this box, and then I saw her reveal this palette and do the swatches, and I was like, yep, okay, I'm convinced. It doesn't take much. I'm easily convinced to pick up a palette, especially an Unearthly or an Odin's Eye palette, but this one's cute. It's fun. You can do all the looks by itself, but it's also a great companion palette. Next up is the Get Groovy palette. So this is the one that was from the large summer mystery box right here, and this is a rainbow palette. We have a rainbow palette from Unearthly, and I'm so excited because she had the Vitality palette, which is basically a rainbow palette, and I never picked that one up because at that time I was like starting to step into color and it was really, really intimidating. I do hear that one is coming back remastered. I'm excited about it, but this is the Get Groovy palette and I love it. It's beautiful. I love the shimmers in here. Again, they're more on like that topper-esque ethereal side, but look at how just shifty and gorgeous these shades are. Like, ugh, it just, yeah, that's it. That's all it takes. This is beautiful. It's fun. I love it. And yeah, I'm so happy I picked it up. Next up is the Devour palette. So this was the Halloween, was it a mystery box or just a collection? I can't remember at this point. Sometimes they're collections, sometimes they're mysteries, we never know. But this was the palette that came out with the Halloween collection. I did not pick up the entire box because I wasn't, the other colors that were in there was not anything that I would have worn, but then she released the palette separately and I jumped on it because look at that beautiful color story. That is so, so pretty. I love these greens in here. They're pretty. You have these dark tones. This is a darker color story for sure, so I have to pull in something else, but that's okay. I don't mind. Let's swatch some of these shades in this palette because, again, gorgeous, stunning. I love it. I love the shifts. I love the shine. I love it all. And I love her new like packaging style that she's doing as well. I think it's really, really pretty. Sorceress Smoke. This one came out, I think she had like this one, Devour, and then she had the new Fall Magic Remastered palette come out at the same time. I did not pick up the new Fall Magic palette. I want to pick it up. I also didn't pick up Don't Be Jelly. I need that one as well. But this is the Sorceress Smoke palette right here. And this is a neutral palette for the brand. This is very neutral. This is very off-key for the brand. But it's beautiful and I'm glad she did it. I love that indie brands are doing more neutral palettes. They're bringing in more people to love their brand, show awareness to their brand, because there are a lot of people out there that either cannot wear colorful eye looks to work or just don't want to, and I understand. I completely get it. So it's nice that there's options for everybody. I just absolutely love that. But this shade here and this one right here, like, those are so, so beautiful. I absolutely love it. I love this palette. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. It's beautiful. We have two more left from the brand. Let's start with the Dreamer palette because this was from her holiday collection. And this one was so worth the wait. I think I ordered the collection in like November and it was supposed to be like mid-December it got here, and then it was like January, but it's beautiful. I absolutely love the artwork. I love her. I think she's beautiful. She just looks so, I don't know, just so serene and just happy laying there. She looks like she's in a dream world, and this is the color story. Need I say more? Purples, mauves, pinks, blues. That's enough for me, and we know that at this point. But this palette is beautiful. It is really pretty. I think it is still available on their website. If not, I'm sure it's up for pre-order or it will be back very soon. But again, beautiful shimmers. Like I said, their shimmers have gotten so much better, more shifty, just they're gorgeous. They're absolutely beautiful, and I love this palette as well. I do have, I believe, a short up on my channel using this palette, so you can check that out if you want to see it in action, but this one's beautiful. And then last but not least, we have their most recent release right here. This is from the Valentine's Day mystery box. I'm sure at this point you have seen it. If not, look away, but I do have a video on my channel up, like unboxing this entire collection, creating a look. I think I've done a short. Yeah, this color story, this is so pretty, but like this is the stuff that Unearthly does. They come up with color stories and it's like, I never would have thought to put that together. Like, to me, that's a color story and that's a color story, but to put them together, it's beautiful. I think I did a look using all the shades except for this one, and it was stunning. It was absolutely beautiful. But again, we have these beautiful, shifty, and like shiny shimmers in this palette. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I'm excited because they do have a new collection coming up. It is called Spring Magic. I cannot wait to see it. We haven't seen anything. Well, we've seen a sneak peek, and that was in last week's New Makeup Monday. I don't know. I can't remember. It all kinds of runs together at this point, but it's beautiful, and I can't wait to see what that one is. Okay, we're down to 3 brands. So first up is Viseart. This is the only little palette I have from Viseart right here, and she's so cute. She's so pretty. I really enjoy this. I wanted to try the formula out, so I did. I picked up the Petite Solstice, I believe is how you say that. I'm not sure if there's like a French word for that, but anyways, this is so cute. I love the tiny little pans in here. I like the quality. That's what I picked this up for. This is a nude palette. I wanted to play it safe. I wanted it to be something that I would get some use out of, and this is so pretty. I do really enjoy it. I'm glad that Viseart has finally come out, and I know that these have been out for a while, but smaller, more affordable palettes, because for the longest time they had those great big huge like pro palettes, and I know they're more for like runway makeup artists, things like that, but the quality in here is beautiful. I definitely want to pick up some more. I like that these little pans pop out, so you can definitely like mix and match. If you have other palettes, you can curate your own story. These are travel friendly. I like the packaging. I love how small it is. I like the pan size. I really like this. I want to try more of their palettes. Wicked Widow Beauty. So this is a newer brand to me. I tried this one first, and then we got into these over here. So let's start with the Graveyard Smash, because this is the first 8-pan palette that I picked up from the brand. This was a Halloween release. Look at that cover art. So pretty. I love it. And I think the color story, if I can open it, is perfect. This is like, it's a Halloween palette, but we've got like this desaturated green that's like the color of their skin. We've got the yellow, the orange, the purple. The shimmers in here are really nice as well. I do really enjoy this palette, which is what really turned me on to the brand, because I liked the quality, I like the shimmers, and I really love a cute small like color story. I love it when they're like 9-pan, 8-pan, even a 6-pan or a quad. I love a well thought out color story. That's exactly what this is. I like the quality. This one's really pretty. And then we go on to the Lovesick palette. This is the newest release from the brand right here. It is another 8-pan color story, and I really enjoy this one as well. I think it's so pretty. I like the color story in here. This reminds me of like a little Valentine's Day card that you used to pass out as a kid, like in class. But I like it. I really enjoy it. Again, it's a smaller curated color story. I like the colors in here. I like this pop of like a periwinkle blue down here, like purple blue color. It's really pretty. Again, the shimmers are really beautiful in this as well. I really like it. I enjoy it. I like the looks that I've created with it. And then we have the Resurrection palette. This palette, I went back and forth. I wasn't going to pick it up because it was a rainbow palette, and then the more I looked at it, I realized that it was more than just a rainbow palette and I needed it, so I ended up getting it on pre-order and I didn't get it until January. But this is my favorite rainbow palette in my collection as of now. You have your traditional red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, but then you have like this swampy green right here, this more muted blue, you have a pastel purple, and then you have like a cream, which is almost like a white, a gray, and a black. The shimmers in here are beautiful. This has a little bit of a twist to it. Yeah, this palette is stunning. Like, look at those shimmers. To me, this is the perfect rainbow palette because yes, you have your rainbow shades, but then you have that little bit of a twist in it. The shimmers are beautiful. They're shifty, they're vibrant, they're sparkly, they're reflective. I love this palette and this makes me so excited for what else the brand is gonna do. Okay, last brand, last palette. This is the end, and this is my YSL Mini Couture Clutch right here. This is my favorite luxury eyeshadow formula right here. First of all, the packaging is so fun. This is beautiful. It reminds me of their little clutch, which, you know, the name comes by it, honestly, but this is beautiful. There's several of these. I'm excited about this. This formula is beautiful. Like, this shade right here is so buttery, soft, and pigmented and beautiful. It's effortless. It goes on the eye so beautifully. The shimmers in here are just, they're beautiful. Sophisticated is the best word that I can use to describe this because that's exactly what it is. It's not like an indie brand. It's not punchy. It's not overly shimmery. But to me, this gives more than Tom Ford. This is what I wanted from Tom Ford. This gives more than Guerlain. This gives more than some of the other like luxury brands that I have. I love this. YSL is one of my absolute favorite luxury brands. I really enjoy it. I like everything that I have from the brand. I would love to pick up more of these. Yes, these are expensive, but they are not like Tom Ford, Chantecaille, Suku expensive. These are knocked down a peg. These are more like a Dior or even maybe a Chanel. Like, these are a little bit more on the affordable side of luxury. Not affordable, just affordable side of luxury. And these are beautiful. So if you are looking for a good luxury quad that won't disappoint, that has beautiful color stories, where you can curate a look using all 4 palettes, that's easy, effortless, and just, you don't need any thought behind it. These are beautiful. I do highly recommend it. I will definitely be picking up more of these. That Sephora sale is coming up, and yeah, I already have a couple of them in my cart. So, yep, that's that. All right, you guys, so that completes my eyeshadow palette collection. So as of this very moment right now, I have 166 eyeshadow palettes in my collection. I'm sure that number will skyrocket this year because I have quite a few on the way, quite a few on my wish list, and I just love eyeshadow palettes. I really, really do. I just adore them. I think they're so fun. I love checking out the color stories. I love checking out the formulas. I love having them. They make me happy. I love makeup. I love using it. I love creating looks. I love teaching. I love helping. I love doing all of that. It's in my nature, and I enjoy it. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I hope that y'all enjoyed a sneak peek into my collection, the first of many sneak peeks. But let me know all of your thoughts and comments down below. Did you like the way that I executed this video? Is there another way that you would like to see it? What did you think of my collection? Were there some palettes in here that you were surprised by? What were your favorites? let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments, and I will see y'all very soon in the next video. But before I go, I want to thank y'all all so much for being here with me today, for watching my video. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my new posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every week, most days, if not every single day, and I would not want you to miss one. So until my next video, have a good one. Bye.